It's time for Sportstime on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sportstime is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Welcome in to another exciting afternoon here in the 901 Memphis, Tennessee, and the surrounding areas. It is Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. No Wolo, no Stats today, as Brett is about to get ready to travel down to Tampa for Ole Miss's bowl game on Saturday. Dave is getting ready for tonight's Tiger action at FedEx Forum against the Bulls of South Florida. So Drew Barrett, Gabe Kuhn hosting and co-hosting with today. Zachary Boyd is producing the program. I don't know Zach's middle initial, so
you don't need to know.
Okay, so Zach's not a middle initial guy, but Gabe Kuhn is
that
here
earlier today on middays. Huh?
I did. I was listening. Well,
good to hear.
Greg gave me a little shout out because I texted him people that go by their middle initial. Isaac M. Jordan, one of the 7 founders of Sigma Chi fraternity. And it's weird. The reason why I remember that so well is because out of the 7, 6 of them use their actual middle name. But Isaac M. Jordan is the only one that goes by the middle initial instead of the middle name. So that's why I texted him that and remembered that. So Gabe Kuhn, Zach Boyd producing, Drew Barrett here hosting, filling in for Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy. We've got a great show lined up for you as well. We're going to have aforementioned Greg Gaston talking Tigers at 3:30 to close out the year with him on the great win against Florida Atlantic in the Montgomery Bowl, returning seniors, what Ryan Silverfield has done in the transfer portal and on the recruiting front, and, of course, looking ahead to 2021. Then at 4 o'clock, as always, we'll have Brent Beard down Jacksonville Way, talk all things SEC and college football at 4:30. Former Ram and Tennessee Volunteer Jeff Moore on the NFL. Going to do a few college football bowl picks at 4:45. We'll have Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com on more NFL, and we'll have Ron Tillery at 5:30 as always to talk Grizzlies and NBA as the Grizzlies got their first win last night in overtime against the Brooklyn Nets. And we'll close out the day as we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. But before I get into all the great topics that we have to discuss today, I am sitting here in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together with some great ticket opportunities for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. In my hands, I have, if you're watching us on all the social medias platform, you can see I have 3 bundles of 8 tickets each to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl December 31st against West Virginia versus Army. Which will be exactly 2 days. Also have 3 red lot parking passes that will come with each set of the tickets. So if you want one of these 8 sets of Liberty Bowl tickets, which is brought to you by First Bank, all the wonderful people over there, and Sports 56, we cannot thank First Bank enough for everything they do, not just with this ticket promo, but everything they do for us here at Sports 56, sponsoring our text line and our phone line. So if you want one of these 3 sets of 8 tickets to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl from First Bank, just hit us up on the First Bank text line, 67129. Tell us your name, tell us who you're going to take, and why you really want these tickets. Like I said, 3 sets of 8. If we have more than 3, we'll pick 3 at random. Not going to show any favoritism, but just tell us who you're going to go with, and we'll get you your tickets as well. That, once again, is brought to you by Sports 56 and First Bank. So, Gabe, Grizzlies able to get off of the goose egg last night with the Kyrie and KD-less Nets in Brooklyn. And Spencer Dinwiddie. You got to throw him in there just for the good year that he had last year with the depleted roster that they had a really good bubble performance down in Orlando last year. So you got to throw him in the mix as well. But Grizzlies get the win, but at what cost? As Ja Morant went down with an ankle injury last night, the X-ray was negative, but we are still waiting on the MRI results today that should come out here any minute now. So, Gabe, what was your impression of the Grizzlies' first win last night?
It was a win that they sort of had to have in that situation. You had three starters out for the Nets. They're 2 all-stars in Kyrie and KD. The Grizzlies needed to go in there and get it done. Obviously, the injury to Ja in that game scares the bejesus out of you, just to be honest. But I think all in all, getting your first win and sort of seeing that John Morant didn't break anything is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it's a good thing, but then again, of everything that goes on in that lower leg region with all the different muscles and tendons, so we're not out of the storm yet.
Right, we need to see the MRI results when they come out. But as far as what it looked like to me, it looked like a pretty substantial ankle injury. They'll keep him out for, a week, 2, maybe 3, unless there is some type of, tendon that has snapped or anything like that. But hopefully it's not something that will have him out for an extended period of time. Because you're already without right now. I mean, you're without Jaren. You're without Justice. Without Ja right now. This team going forward.
It ain't looking good.
Where's a win in the next couple weeks if they don't have any of those guys going?
Even with Ja, I said yesterday, if the Grizzlies aren't able to pull off this win against a Nets team without 3 of their big starters, especially KD and Kyrie Irving, then you're looking at an 0-7 start off the face of it. I mean, obviously that 8th game would have been at home against Cleveland, which they lost Kevin Love today for a few weeks. I think 6 to 8 weeks is out with another injury. I mean, shocker, Kevin Love got hurt, but that was kind of where you were looking at to be your next guaranteed win. And while you take the W, you take the W, you take the good things that you got last night. You take the double from Valanciunas. You take the great game from slow-mo Kyle Anderson, 28 points. You take the Dylan Brooks, even though did put up some kind of bad shots like Dylan Brooks is known to do, but it was limited. I at least think. I mean, 2 or 4 from beyond the arc for 24 points. Brandon Clark had a decent game.
Brandon Clark
the game
finally,
with 16.
After those first 2 games, looked normal.
Looked
like
to be back to be at Brandon Clark, but without Ja, and here's the stat that I stumbled across earlier today. With Ja on the court, the Grizzlies are plus 5.9. With him not on the court, they were minus 17.4. I mean, that is a huge difference.
That's a heck of a stat. But now going forward here for the next couple weeks, you have to assume that you're going to be without Ja, because I would use, if I'm anybody in the Grizzlies front office on that coaching staff, I'm using an abundance of caution. I am not pushing him out there if he has any uncomfortability in that ankle. So you got to assume next couple weeks you're going to be without him. And where do you get your scoring from? How comfortable are you with Dylan Brooks and Kyle Anderson being the guys you have to lean on for your scoring? And, Tyus Jones hasn't quite been himself this year so far. He's probably going to have to fill in and be your point guard. I am very concerned for these next 2 weeks. You don't want them to put themselves in a really bad position to be at the very bottom of the Western Conference at the very beginning of the season.
Yeah, you really don't. And you don't really want to rely on role players basically to be your stars, but you're going to have to at this point. I mean, realistically, the only real, I guess, somewhat star that you have left on the court and somebody that you know what you're going to get out of them every night. And I'd hate to use the word star, but I mean, very good player in Giannis Valanciunas. Like, he's now your guy. He's now the guy on the court for the Grizzlies, and with the inconsistency that has come from a lot of these guys, especially to start, Dylan Brooks has his up and downs. Kyle Anderson, you're not really banking on getting 28 points from him night in and night out, and Brandon Clark having his first real good game yesterday. It looks bad. It does not look good for the next few weeks. Hopefully only a few weeks without Ja. So depending on and you really hope that going forward that they're going to get better, that this is just a lack of training camp, a lack of preseason games. You only had 4. You didn't really have as many practices. You weren't doing, as Pete Pranica told us yesterday on the program, you weren't doing 5-on-5s. You were doing a lot of 1v1s or sometimes 1v0s, not even going up against somebody, just kind of going against somebody against a ghost. So when you don't have that as much practice and stuff like that, then you're not going to look the same on the court. So hopefully over the next few weeks they can slowly build up and get it, because I mean, looking at this schedule, Gabe, there's not a lot of wins in the next couple of weeks. I mean, you got Boston, you're at Boston, then you're at Charlotte, then you got 2 games at home against the Los Angeles Lakers, then like I've pre-mentioned, the Cavaliers at home, then you bring in the Nets again, and then the next few wins is you hope to win the back-to-backs in Minnesota.
But even again with that, it's like with the Timberwolves, with the Cavs, with the Hornets, if you're missing all of your scoring, what are you going to do? Those aren't even – you can't chalk those up as wins by any stretch.
No, you really can't.
I think they'll win a couple games, hopefully, that they shouldn't, that people think they shouldn't.
I mean, but are you really going to be –
But it's hard to imagine. At this point, you have to imagine Dylan Brooks put up 19 shots last night. How many shots does he have to put up a game now? He's going to have to be your main scorer, him and Jonas.
And that's not a good thing. If Dylan Brooks is your guy, if he's the guy that you rely on offensively, it's not going to be good. And I'm not trying to sit here and be a Dylan Brooks hater, but it's just the facts of life. That if you're relying on Dylan Brooks to be the majority of your score, the majority of your offense, you're not going to win a lot of ball games, because in order for him to do that, he's going to have to put up north of 25 shots a night.
And he's going to have to be efficient in those 25 shots.
And how efficient has he been over a long span?
That's not his game. He's a volume shooter.
He's peaks and valleys, very peaks and valleys. One game, he's knocking down every shot. Then the next game, he's only making 4 to 8 shots and still putting up that 25. You can't rely on a guy like that night in and night out.
Now, granted, a lot of ills are fixed once Ja and Jaren get back in the lineup, and I don't think anyone has – at this point, with Ja out of the lineup, with the roster they're going to have to put out there these next couple weeks, I don't think anyone has any expectation for like even a win. Mm-hmm. Like, can you really?
I don't think you really can at this point, and it kind of as a head scratcher and a wonder. The expectation was already a little bit down, but should you go ahead and I hate to scrap the season after 3 games, but depending on how long Ja Morant is out, I mean, let's say worst case scenario. I mean, obviously, worst case scenario would be out for the season. But let's say it's more than just 2 weeks. Let's say he's somewhere around that 4 to 6, 6 to 8 week limit. I mean, by that time, we're looking at somewhere in mid-February already, almost halfway through the season. How many wins can you guarantee on that schedule? Because, I mean, looking at it right now, even with just Ja, and hopefully, I mean, obviously Jaren and Justin are going to Justice will come back in that time span, but it just looks very bleak for the Grizzlies in the future as far as this season goes.
Oh, without question. And it's one of those things. It's one of those things. Injuries will bite you so quick, and they're very unforgiving. And the Grizzlies just need to worry about, I think the front office, the coaching staff, everybody else on that team needs to worry about getting those guys healthy and trying to play the best ball they can right this second, which is, not a great brand. It's not a good roster that you have out there right now. And you just have to sort of accept that and move forward.
Yeah, you really do. That's exactly what you're going to have to do. And we're going to talk a lot more Grizzlies and NBA throughout the program, especially at 5:30 with at CA Grizz beat Ron Tillery. But before we get to our top and not top story, I do want to bring this up. I wish we had a little bit more time. I spent a little bit more on the Grizzlies than I wanted to, but we had a off the air conversation about Devontae Smith, who won the AP Player of the Year award.
Didn't it throw you off that he was the first Alabama player that has won the AP Player?
Yes, that threw me.
And he's first
wide
receiver too, so good for him.
So, but the main thing that we had the conversation about is that you think that Devontae Smith is going to win the Heisman.
I do. I absolutely do. He's the prohibitive favorite right this second in Vegas and elsewhere. He's the second leading scrimmage yard getter in college football. He has the most receiving yards. He's done a lot for that offense. He's been Mac Jones' lifeline. So I really do think this year we're going to switch up, and he's going to be a wide receiver winning that award, which is so bizarre to me considering where that award, what it's warped into. It's a quarterback
award with a few running backs sprinkled in. I mean, just in this century, we've only had 3 non-quarterbacks win the Heisman. Of course, those are all 3 running backs with Mark Ingram, Derrick Henry, and Reggie Bush, if you count the not before he vacated the Heisman. But as far as wide receivers go, there's only been 2/3, depending on who you ask. And I'm going to ask Brent Beard at 4 o'clock where he would put him. And the guy that would be on the cusp would be Johnny Rodgers. He's listed in a lot of different places as wide receiver / running back for Nebraska when he won the Heisman in 1972. Only other 2 wide receivers that have won the Heisman would be Tim Brown in 87 out of Notre Dame and Desmond Howard, 91 out of Michigan. And to think about how long the Heisman has been around, to think about what the award as the best player in college football, for how long it's been around, for over 60 years now, that we've only had 2/3 guys from the wideout position actually win the award. So I don't think that that's actually going to change this year. It's probably going to be Mac Jones.
You really think it'll be Mac Jones?
I think it'd be Mac Jones or Najee Harris before Devontae Smith.
You got to think about his supporting cast. You have to think about it because Najee Harris and Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, when he was still playing, are uplifting that offense. Mac Jones is fantastic. I'm not taking it away. He should be a Heisman finalist. But I would argue, based on how many balls that Devontae Smith has caught, where he is on the leaderboards as far as being a statistical leader, I would argue he means more to that offense.
And I think you have a good argument there, but the thing is, history doesn't lie. This is a quarterback award.
No question.
That's what it really is. And
another bit of history is made this year.
A lot of weird things have happened in 2020. I don't think this is going to be one. I think it's going to be a quarterback.
What's up?
Sure, I'll do a lunch bet with you.
We'll do a lunch bet.
All right. Okay. A lunch bet. You got Devontae Smith. I got the rest of the field.
Okay, cool.
Easy money for me.
That ain't easy money. You're going to lose.
I don't think so.
Bet on college football on New Year's Day with an exclusive 25-1 odds boost on FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook giving new users an exclusive 25-1 odds boost on the 2 biggest college football games of the year. That means you can pick either Notre Dame or Alabama or Clemson or Ohio State, then bet just $5 for a chance to win $125. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like same game, parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events, and bet insurance to let you get more action out of every game day. And unlike other sportsbooks, once you win, FanDuel gets you your cash in as little as 24 hours. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. But right now, the right thing for you to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and use the promo code CASH to take exclusive advantage of your 25-1 college odds boost. Remember, that's FanDuel Sportsbook promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. Must wager on designated boost market. Deposit required. Max bonus $125. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. You can call them at 901-362-8833. Happy 2021 from everyone at Lexus of Memphis. And they have great offers on those 2021 models and always special lease options and a few remaining 2020s as well. If you've ever thought I'd look great in a Lexus, well, guess what? In 2021, you will look great in a Lexus from Lexus of Memphis. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2021 flagship LS 500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Before we get to our top and not top story, do just want to answer Justin from Facebook, who asked, how do you join the text line? Justin, to join the text line, all you got to do is text 56JOIN to 67129. You'll get a message back, and you can go ahead and text the program. And we do still have a few open slots for the chance to win 8 tickets and a parking pass to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl between West Virginia and Army. Just text us your name, who you're going to take, and at the text line at 67129. My top story of the day, hard times in Hoop City. Although the Grizzlies were able to get their first win of the season last night against the Kyrie and KD-less Nets in Brooklyn, 116-111 in overtime. It came as a huge cost as Ja Morant suffered an ankle injury. While the X-ray was negative last night, we are still waiting on the results of the MRI. Hopefully Ja is okay and come back soon, because the Grizz sure do need him. With Ja on the court, like I said a minute ago, the Grizzlies are plus 5.9, and when he's not on the court, they are minus 17.4. Also, the Tigers looking to bounce back tonight at home against USF after their terrible loss last week to Tulsa. Hopefully the new Lion offense that Penny has put in will help with the offensive troubles, but we will have to see tonight at FedEx Forum. Hard times in Hoop City. Hard times indeed.
Right. My top story of the day, you look at me if you watch us live on Facebook, on Periscope, on Twitter, you will see what my top story of the night is.
Love the green screen.
USF is traveling to Memphis tonight to take on the Tigers. Both teams are 1-1 in conference and really needing a win at this point in the season. It could be another very bad loss for the Tigers if they can't get it together. We're going to see the new offense you just mentioned, Lion, that Penny has put in. He says he's comfortable with it. He says he's going to feed his big men a little bit more in that. But we'll see what it looks like. I'm a little bit skeptical, given changing an offense early in the season. Changing an offense altogether may be confusing for some of your players. But again, we will see. But could you imagine if the Tigers drop another one at home to a middling American Athletic Conference team? This could be very disastrous. I don't want to see it, but I want to see signs of life tonight. I want to see what the Tigers get done, and hopefully they come out with a win.
It'll be absolutely terrible. I mean, I've been to every home game thus far this season. I'm not going to go tonight. I have a prior engagement that I have to go to or be at that, but I will be watching the game in its full length. But that Tulsa game, I mean, sitting there, and it made my eyes bleed. It really did.
Both
I mean,
teams,
it was so hard to watch, and I've been asking for it all season long through this short season. Even with the few wins, I don't have confidence. You got to give me something to be confident. You got to give me somebody out there that we can guarantee night in and night out to be the scorer. I mean, Landers Nolly has kind of shown that. Has shown flashes. DJ has shown a few flashes here and there.
Of course, DeAndre
Williams. I mean, I was about to go out and buy a number 12 jersey and put Williams on the back from the Tiger Bookstore after his first game. But just not enough consistency there and not enough confidence for me, and I think of most of Tiger Nation.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story of the day, Pittsburgh Steelers coach Mike Tomlin said today that Ben Roethlisberger will not play this weekend against the Browns, with Mason Rudolph instead getting the start in Cleveland. Tomlin acknowledged the Steelers that are 12-3, who already have clinched the playoff spot and the AFC North title, but still have seeding to be determined. And hopefully he is the only starter out for the Steelers, because if the Steelers win, the Browns are out of the playoffs. And while it's not as good as the Ravens making the playoffs, it's almost just as good.
You're
because
such a Ravens fan.
I mean,
you are such a Ravens fan.
I cannot have the Browns succeed.
Take off those Ravens goggles you have on right now.
I need the people in Cleveland know that I am better than them.
You know
and if they make the playoffs, they won't know that.
You know what? The Browns have not been to the playoffs since 2002. They haven't won a playoff game since 94. Let them have this year.
Nope, they can't have it.
Let them have this year. The Ravens have done it plenty of times. They got Super Bowls to their name. Just let the Browns have one, Drew, can't you?
Nope, I'm selfish.
Gosh. You are selfish, I guess.
I don't like them Browns.
I guess that's the moral of the story there. But my not top story of the day, Booger McFarland last night on Monday Night Football. Just a terrible, in my opinion, diatribe he went on. When they were talking about Dwayne Haskins, the Monday Night Football crew was talking about how it didn't work out with him and the Washington football team. But then, I'll make it short for you. Booger McFarland went on to generalize every young black NFL player as being social media driven and brand driven. And he's saying more or less that they come into the NFL with selfish reasons. And Booger, you clearly feel strongly on this. That's why you said it and you doubled down on it and you put it in your social media. But we don't generalize like that. You literally can't ignore the fact that young black QBs in the NFL are thriving. Look at Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson. They're thriving. Absolutely. And you also ignore that there are players that are white that have had a lot of issues getting into the league. Johnny Manziel, Ryan Leaf, Ryan Mallett, just to name a few. It's not a race.
Kelly broke into a house.
Again, it's not a race-specific thing. This is a young man with money thing. And for him to generalize like that, I thought that was, quite frankly, gross. And then doubling down on it, I figured, after having conversations with Randy Moss on set and Adam Schefter on set, that he would, explain better what he was trying to say. But no, he doubled down on it and said he meant it when he said and generalized that young black players in the NFL are brand and media, social media driven.
I think the problem with his statement is exactly right what you said, generalizing it, saying that, the 70% of African Americans that make up the NFL, saying that most of them are there to build the brand and not concentrate on the billion-dollar business. What he should have done, and what I think his main point was talking about Dwayne Haskins. He just took it a little too far by generalizing the whole situation.
Even with that, Drew, does that relate to anything that we're talking about with Dwayne Haskins? Is he a guy that tried to help his brand? Is he a guy that was being social media driven? No, he hurt his brand, if anything.
I mean, it's a guy who was taking pictures with fans and signing autographs before the game was even over one time. It's a guy that's been caught twice without a mask at gentlemen's clubs.
Yes,
during a pandemic.
He's hurting his brand more than anything. It's not about him building his brand. It's about him having fun and being a young guy with a lot of money. That's what Dwayne Haskins' life is about. He needs maturity. He needs some leadership. But I don't really see his point in regards to Dwayne Haskins, but that's beside the point.
And those are our top and not top stories of the day. When we come back, we'll be talking Tigers with Greg Gasson, so don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Get happy with Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Cold and flu season's here. It's time to make sure your family's stocked up on the products you'll need if somebody gets sick. Pick up the new Vicks DayQuil and NyQuil Severe, honey, cold, and flu medicines during your next grocery trip. DayQuil and NyQuil Severe Honey or max strength medicine with a great tasting honey flavor. Also available for sale at online retailers. Dayquil NyQuil Severe Honey provides max strength cold and flu symptom relief for your worst cold and flu symptoms in a soothing honey flavor. Use as directed.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
You hear the phrase a lot this time of year, happy holidays. But holidays are not always happy, particularly for guys grappling with a divorce that they didn't choose. These men need more than the help of a good lawyer. They need the hope and encouragement of a good friend.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Memphis attorneys. Online at CordellCordell.com. Office in Memphis, 6000 Poplar Avenue, Suite 225, Memphis, Tennessee, 38119.
Rocking around the Kia rides, have a happy holiday. That's right, Mid-South Gossett Kia on the Pike is rocking away at the Kia Holiday Sales Event. Command the season. And gift wrapping is available on your 2020 Kia Forte $142 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5 $192 a month lease. All just 36 months, $3149 due at signing. So get them what they really want this season, a new ride from Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike. Or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte ME 29910, MSRP $20,625, Soul M7755,682, MSRP $20,315, K5 MG 003199, MSRP $25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit, warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 12/31/20, dealer stock only.
Tired of waiting on your sports book? Waiting for deposits and withdrawals? No more waiting with Action 24/7. We're cutting out the middleman. Deposit or withdrawal in cash. Action 24/7 has more than 100 partners in Tennessee for cash deposits and withdrawals. Visit action247.com for a location. Cash deposits and withdrawals from your Tennessee sportsbook. Action247.com. You got action.
Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee. For problem gambling support, call 800-889-9789.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
And welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1. No Wolo, no Stats. Gabe Kuhn, Drew Barrett, Zach Boyd filling in, doing the program, taking you all the way up to 6 o'clock tonight. Greg Gaston, the host of Sports 56 Middays, that you hear every day from 10 to 1 right here on all three of our great stations, and also the sideline reporter for the University of Memphis Tigers football program. Greg, how are you doing today?
What's up, Greg?
And first and foremost, Tigers got the monkey off the back. They finally got the bowl victory. How great was it?
Well, it was fantastic. First of all, thanks for having me on, guys. I know the show has gotten a lot younger with you two guys hosting for those old guys.
By about 100 years.
And then I just pushed it back up, so with my appearance. But thanks for having me on. Yeah, look, it was a long time in the making, 5 straight bowl losses. And I know some people look at bowl games differently than others. It's not that important unless you're playing in a playoff game and this and that. No, it's important. Everybody wants to win. Memphis certainly wanted to win, and unfortunately the ball didn't bounce their way for 5 consecutive times. Got to go back to Gabe playing in the game against BYU.
Two wins that day.
Was it Boca? Was that Boca game?
Miami.
In Miami. But now you finally get the win, and look, it culminates just a stressful season for everybody, not only at Memphis, but all around the country with everything that went on with COVID-19, with all the opt-outs, with all the scheduling difficulty, with games being canceled or postponed. And you end up with 8 wins in 11 games. You beat Florida Atlantic. You beat them pretty soundly in the bowl game in Montgomery, which is going to be a one-off game, right? This was going to be the Fenway Park Bowl in Boston, and it was canceled, and they ended up making up this Montgomery Bowl for the one time only. And hopefully, keep your fingers crossed, and Memphis goes up against the Florida Atlantic Owls, and they win the game. So a great way to end the season. Strong finish for Ryan Silverfield in his first full year as head coach.
Certainly. I think it was fantastic, considering the circumstances, having all the opt-outs and everything else. But going forward, you look at what that offense did the back half of the season this year, sort of after that Cincinnati game. What did you see? Obviously, the run game wasn't working. What do you think were some factors sort of contributing to that?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of things, and you and I have talked about it before. You can't just look at the run game struggle and go, it's all on the offensive line. It's a lot of things that we've had Ryan Silverfield on the show many times on Thursdays when he would join us before a game, and he said you also got to take into consideration the blocking schemes, the tight ends, the wide receivers not doing their job, the offensive line struggling, and he took that personally because he's coached the offensive line, as you know. And then the running backs themselves, and they've had some injuries, and Drake got hurt late in the season, but you have to find out of those running backs moving forward, plus whoever is coming in to join them in 2021, some guys that could step up. Now, it's not easy to find the replacements for the likes of Kenny Gainwell and Antonio Gibson, Tony Pollard, Darrell Henderson. It's been a great run to have that many players that are either in the NFL or going to go to the NFL. So that's asking a lot, but they've done a great job in recruiting and finding those diamonds in the rough, and they're going to have to find those guys, because if not, it's really going to be the offensive line improving, the blocking improving, the running backs improving as a whole to even come close to what they've been able to do producing on the ground. And remember this, as you guys know, and everybody is aware of this, with Brady White gone, he can't bail you out.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've got a new quarterback coming in, whoever it is, right? You don't have the DeMonte Coxies of the world catching the balls anymore, although Calvin Austin was incredible, and Sean Dykes has announced he's going to come back. But you have to find those replacements. And Memphis has really done a great job over the last half dozen years in finding guys to step into those roles.
You're right, Greg. The University of Memphis has done a great job. And with the news after the bowl game of Grant Gunnell, the widely recruited, I think he was a 4-star coming out of high school, transferring from Arizona, where he was a starter before getting hurt this year, is going to be joining your program. And obviously you have some other quarterbacks still on the roster. You have the Peter Parrish transfer of another 4-star guy from LSU. And Dave kind of threw this out yesterday. I want to get your opinion on it. With Grant Gunnell coming in and Peter Parrish being that dual threat guy, and you have so many question marks in the run game, could you see Peter Parrish kind of moving positions to a running back?
I guess anything's possible. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see, and hopefully they have spring ball, because spring ball is going to be extremely important for the Tigers this offseason. Last year, it wasn't as – I mean, certainly it was important for everybody, but it wasn't as important because you had Brady White coming back. But now you're going to have a new quarterback. So whether it's Gunnell winning the job, and he's a prototypical pocket passer, 6'6", 6'7", good arm, things of that nature. And then you just mentioned Parrish, and they got Brown. There's a few guys here in the mix, and anything's on the table, I think. If that's something that Parrish, if he wins the job, he wins the job. Let's say he doesn't win the job, and they say, listen, you can become this versatile Swiss Army knife, kind of like an Antonio Gibson. You're such a good athlete. Would you do that? Would you be willing to do that? And that would be up to the individual if he would want to. But we're looking way ahead. I don't know. That's a possibility. But this Gunnell kid, I just like what I'm reading about him. He put up some pretty good numbers in his appearances this year with Arizona, and he's got the size. And he's got the arm. But will he be that guy on the field once they hit spring ball? For the Tigers' fans' sake, let's hope so. Not taking away anything from what they have right now on the roster, but my gosh, you found Brady White. You found Riley Patterson. You lucked into Paxton Lynch. It's been a great run. Maybe it will continue with Gunnell, Parrish, or somebody else.
And heck, I could even see in Drew. I could see if you sort of look at Grant Gunnell and he's got that Pac-12 experience. Maybe Peter Parrish is a guy who, obviously assuming he doesn't necessarily start, could be a guy who's a sub-package runner and comes in and sort of helps out. And obviously, 2 QB situations aren't for everyone, but they work from time to time.
I'm not a big fan of the 2 QB system, because the old saying goes, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't really have one. I'd much rather have the one guy stick in there that you have confidence in on every down, and not have to keep shuffling back and forth.
I understand that too. But obviously, Memphis has not been one that has been at a shortage of offense.
No.
In the past here. Defensively is where they've struggled. And I thought that defense came along very well toward the end of the year. What is your confidence level that year 2 with Mike McIntyre will be better than what we saw in the early going this year?
Yeah, I think it's going to be better. I think you're also going to get some players in to help with that defense, but you're going to get more experience now under their belt. Some of the younger players that had a chance to get on the field and play for Mike McIntyre in Mike McIntyre's system. It was a combination of things early on. It was not just the new system that was implemented. I think some of the players really struggled. Mm-hmm. And now you lose a guy like O'Brien Goodson, you're going to lose some talent off that team. But I think some of the guys that weren't starters, maybe weren't even on the second part of the depth chart, on the 2 deep, to start the season, really made names for themselves. The secondary, we had that Quindell Johnson really stepped up, become a very talented player, one of the better defensive backs in the conference. So I saw improvement. You saw improvement, guys. I know they played a Navy team that's not proficient, at least this year, offensively with their triple option offense. They played a Florida Atlantic team under Kiffin. They were explosive offensively, but not the same under Taggart. So some of the teams they played certainly made a difference at the end of the season. But I saw improvement with that team. I really did with the unit, with the defensive unit, and I think that'll continue in the next season.
And Greg, it sort of makes you wonder, what does that unit look like from start to finish if they had a spring ball, if they got to get used to McIntyre's system? Because I think that would make all the difference in the world, especially when you're talking about this COVID year.
It would have to be a better start than they got off to, right? Right, Gabe? You got to figure having that time. Now, would they have been lights out defensively? No, there were still issues with that secondary. There's no question about the fact that they got better in their coverage when they got T.J. Carter back. It certainly helped. But yes, if you had the one spring ball, the first spring ball with Mike McIntyre implementing his system, I would think that they would have gotten out to a better start during the season. But when you look back on 8-3 and you see what they did and what they didn't do and the 3 losses, the Cincinnati game, certainly you can understand them losing, right? You can understand them losing. Cincinnati was the best team in the conference. Now, the way they lost, it wasn't even a contest. That's disappointing. But they lost to Cincinnati, so no shocker there. The SMU game, they made mistakes. They could have won that game. They had a kick, they had a chance, and they didn't get it done. So that was disappointing. But the one game that stands out that was really disappointing was Tulane. But that's the only game That's the only game I could point a finger and go, that one. That one game. How did that happen? Everything else was, look, they struggled against South Florida, which was a bad team, but they rallied. They a miraculous comeback, but a comeback nonetheless for a W. So overall, again, you look back at the season with everything that transpired, that was a pretty good year, pretty successful year.
Yeah, I definitely will take 8 wins in a year. I mean, if we're talking about 7 straight seasons with 8 or more wins, I mean, what really more could you ask for? And obviously, as you continue to have success, fan bases and everybody around the nation is going to expect you to get better and have more and more and more as you go forward. Like I said, 7 years, that's pretty good longevity going into hopefully year 8 and Ryan Silverfield's second full year. What are the expectations put on the Tigers team with having to have a new quarterback, with still trying to figure out the run game, but you do have, some really good wideouts, Calvin Austin, Taj Washington. I think Javon Ivory is going to have a breakout year next year as well. You got Sean Dice coming back. Right now, I know we're still sitting here before 2021 even gets started, but Greg, what is the expectation on this team next year as far as win total and what they have to accomplish?
Well, first of all, Drew, your point is well taken, because with the more you win, and this goes with every program, with every team, if you're a fan of a professional team, the more you win, the more you want to keep winning, at least sustain that level or go higher. A lot of people want you to go higher. Memphis last year reaching the pinnacle of the New Year's 6 group of 5 representative playing in the Cotton Bowl. Unfortunately, that's about as high as you can go, winning the conference championship and playing in that game, because you're not going to be a part of the playoffs. But the 7 years in a row that you just mentioned, when you were saying that, I was just thinking to myself, wow, because you guys are young, but I remember the lean years when if you got the 6, right? If you got bowl eligible when they were able to break through in 03, I think it was 02, 03 New Orleans Bowl. I mean, that was a revelation. Now it's commonplace. Now, I mean, once Gabe came here to play football, I mean, he knows what it's all about. So he's been a part of this whole transition from when they had the hard times under Larry Porter and the real embarrassing times to, my gosh, a resurrection with Fuente starting at Norvell and now into Ryan Silverfield. So the expectations from fans aren't going to drop.
No.
They're not going to get any lower. So it's going to be win 8 games or more. Win 8 games or more every time out. Win the conference, or at least be in position to win the conference. Yeah, I don't think those expectations get any lower. So it's now up to Ryan Silverfield and his staff. And obviously, I'm sure you guys have discussed, or it has been discussed, the Pete Lembo loss. I think it's a huge loss. He's going to have to find a really good replacement for Pete, because those special teams for Memphis were extremely special. But yes, it's not, the expectations are not going to be lowered. So you go into next year, 8 wins or more, be in position to steal back that conference championship from Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think the more on the conference championship is that's going to be the new standard. I mean, after you've gone missed it this year, but previous years, 3 straight years to that championship game, I think that's now the new standard to either be in it or barely right off on the cusp of it. But
I agree.
That's what great programs have, and the higher the standards means obviously the better the program you truly are. And I don't want to go back to those lean years that you're talking about, Greg. Let's keep this train rolling. Let's keep the 8-win-plus streak going, the bowl streak alive, and let's have a great 2021 season. Thanks so much for joining us,
Thanks,
Greg, and all season, especially today.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure, guys. Take care.
That is Greg Gaston. You hear him every Monday through Friday right here on all 3 stations on Sports 56 middays with Eli Savoy and Gabe Kuhn.
And he mentioned the loss of Pete Lembo. I think that's huge. I think Coach Silverfield's done a pretty good job at hiring assistants. You saw what he did with McIntyre last year and getting Charles Clark as well from that Ole Miss staff. But University of Memphis has had a run on special teams coordinators. Joe Lorig before Pete Lembo, and then you had slipping my James Shebest.
Or Shebest,
before that. Just fantastic special teams. Hopefully he keeps that streak alive.
Which, I mean, and we saw over the weekend Ryan Silverfield tweet out, big news, this is coming. Still haven't seen that big news, so hopefully maybe it's somebody else in the transfer portal, or it is somebody to replace Lembo for that special teams coordinator. Before we go to break, just a reminder, we do have 3 sets of 8 tickets to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl December 31st. If you're watching on the social media platform, you can see the tickets. Also, each set comes with a parking pass in the red lot, which for people who don't know what that is, that's right off of South Hollywood, basically where the old Highland 100 lot used to be back in the early 2000s. That's how I always remember where the red lot is. So if you want those tickets, please text into our First Bank text line 67129, your name, who you're going to take, and what team you're going to root for. So send those in. If we have more than 3, we'll just pick 3 at random, and we'll get in touch with you on how to get your tickets and your passes. On the other side of the break, we're going to pick a few college football bowl games, give you some unfortunate bowl news from today. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
Spend the holidays at home this year with a little help from Family Leisure. Family Leisure has so many spas on order. Now's your time to really save big. Huge savings on pool tables, game tables, arcades, massage chairs, and a whole lot more. Buy a pool now and save the 2021 price increase. Plus, you'll get early installation scheduling. The Holidays at Home sale happening now at Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun come together for the holidays.
What's up, Memphis? This is former Memphis kicker Steven Gostkowski. I know you've heard of Platinum Jewelers by now. You've heard from former Grizzly Mike Miller and my man D'Angelo Williams tell you about them. Now take it from me, a 2-time Super Bowl champ. Platinum Jewelers is the best in the business. When it's time for jewelry, make sure you give Platinum Jewelers a look before you buy.
Platinum Jewelers has a brand new location in Germantown at 9387 Poplar Avenue. Visit them or at 545 Perkins Extended in East Memphis or online at platinumjewelers.com.
Hi, I'm Hayden Moore, General Manager of the all-new Wolf Chase Hyundai. Don't miss the Hyundai Holiday Sales Event, where for a limited time, get 0% APR for 72 months on the new 2020 Santa Fe's and Sonatas. Plus, make no payments for 5 months. Drive with Hyundai Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Plus, free delivery within 100 miles. Visit wolfchasehyundai.com with approved credit, $13.89 per month for every 1,000 financed. Example down payment 10%. Down payment will vary based on credit rating. First 5 monthly payments deferred. Offer ends January 3rd, 2021.
Hey everybody, down to the last few days of the year, and everyone at All-Star Chevrolet asked me to thank all of you for sticking with them through all the challenges this year. Now, if you want an unreal deal on a new Chevy, Olive Branch is where you want to be. All-Star Chevrolet has year-end markdowns on everything. New Silverados, Traverse, Equinox, Suburban, Tahoes, Camaros, even Impalas. They have the new 2020 and 2021 Silverados and Traverse with plenty of cash back. I just drove the new Camaro. Yeah, they let even me test drive that. And my favorite Impala. I love them. I love them all, and you will too. Go make them an offer on any Chevy car, SUV, or truck you want. They'll take it. All posted at their website at allstarautogroup.com. They have the best certified pre-owned Chevy selection anywhere, barely driven and fully warranted. And everyone at All-Star Chevrolet has one job, just one job, to make sure you have fun, get the best deal, and in record time. Remember, it's not Mount Moriah or South Haven, not the Pike or Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch, people. So find new roads to Kraft Goodman Road and Olive Branch for the end of the year deal you will never forget. Or go to allstarautogroup.com. And Happy New Year from our friends at All-Star Chevrolet.
Hi, I'm Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. Can anyone explain to me why anyone would care how I measure your roof? We have all heard about measuring your roof from outer space. Well, to be honest, there are aerial pictures that are taken every 4 years that can be used to measure a building, but it's not from outer space. Besides, no one, and I mean no one, can tell you what's wrong with your roof or even if you need one by using pictures that might be 4 years old. If you would rather do business with a family-owned and operated business with a lifelong tie to Memphis that refuses to mislead or use gimmicks, please give me a call. Best products, best warranties, and the best customer service we know how to provide. Fiveash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We like to party.
Welcome back to Sports Time. No Wolo, no Stats today. Drew Barrett, Gabe A. Kuhn filling in for Wolo and Stats. Zach Boyd on the other side. He won't tell me his middle initial, so can't give him one like I just did for Gabe, who wants to be called by his middle initial now as well.
But see, here's the thing. Like,
are you afraid somebody's going to steal your identity or
no,
something?
No, I don't.
They can steal mine. I ain't got nothing.
No, I don't associate by my middle name. But I've been in a relationship where my ex actually called me by my middle name all the time.
Oh.
And so
bring
that
up
was
scars. I don't even know,
like,
your middle name. Just give me the first letter. I'm not even going to guess.
This is an emotional scar.
No. I'm not hurt by it. I just don't go by it. Because I would look at you crazy like, who's that person? But then I had to realize it's me. So,
Zach, you let me know her name. I will hunt her down.
I will give you the initials.
All right, what's your middle initial? That's
I have
fine.
2 of them.
Oh, you have 2 middle initials?
Yeah.
Okay.
They go wild for that. Like, 2 of them?
Ooh,
like,
fancy. He got 4 names.
All right. So it's N and it's J.
Zach N. J. Boyd.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That
would be a little clunky if you did Zach N. J. Boyd. I guess, but we can make it work. I mean, I go by my middle name, so
what
I
about
can't
NJ
really
Boyd?
use.
Just take out the Zach. NJ Boyd.
NJ Boyd. I like it.
That sounds like a funeral home, man.
Yeah,
NJ Boyd's funeral home. NJ Boyd's bail bonds.
See, I can't even use my middle initial because I go by my middle name, or a shortened of my middle name. So it wouldn't make any sense. I guess I could always use my first initial. I could go P. Drew Barrett. If that makes any sense. I don't like it.
That's not the one.
Either.
That is not the one.
No, it's not. We'll keep workshopping that around. But we do have some college football action tonight. Got a couple games. We picked the Oklahoma State-Miami game yesterday. Dave and Brett are both taking the Cowboys. I'm going to take the U. We've got the Alamo Bowl tonight. Number 20, Texas, taking on Colorado. That one will kick off at 8 o'clock tonight. Texas is minus 12.5, favored over the Colorado Buffaloes. Brett is going to take Texas. Dave's taking Colorado. I'm going to take Colorado.
Give me the Buffs.
You're going to take the Buffs? Yeah. You're a Colorado guy, right?
Yeah,
Your
well,
dad
yeah.
is,
My dad went to Boulder, so I grew up, the Big 12 version of Colorado, watching them play Kansas State and Mizzou and all those other teams. But that Colorado team is pretty decent this year. Decent this year. Their running back, I don't know if you've heard of him, but Jarek Broussard.
Good year.
You know how many games they've played? 5?
Yeah.
He's run for 813 yards. So if that tells you anything about how good he is,
that's pretty good stats.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
It's pretty good. Very, very high in regards to yards per game, rushing in the nation. So I like that Colorado team to cover.
I do as well. Brett all alone on the island, taking Texas to cover minus the 12.5. And tomorrow at 11 a.m. So we got to pick this one because obviously we don't come on air till 3 o'clock every day. Wisconsin in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Wisconsin is minus 7.5 over Wake Forest. Brett's taking Wisconsin. Dave's taking Wisconsin. I'm taking Wisconsin.
And
Gabe,
we're sweeping it.
We're going to
How
sweep
am I going to
it.
pick Wake Forest in that game?
You can't. You really
just can't do it.
you just really can't.
The Duke's Mayo Bowl, though.
Good name.
Hey, what happens, though? Is
you get mayonnaise?
the Gatorade bath mayonnaise at the end?
See, I hate mayonnaise in the first place.
They
so
do that with the
that'd
Idaho Potato Bowl. It's potatoes.
Yeah.
So with the Mayo Bowl.
That's disgusting, though.
Hey.
Mayonnaise is disgusting
in
general. So.
It is. I would laugh very hard, though, if that's what they showered with the winning coach.
That would be quite interesting.
That sounds disgusting.
Right? It sounds
Although I will say Duke's Mayo is probably the best mayo.
Here's the thing. I don't mind it on a sandwich. Don't dump no mayo on me, man. We're going to fight.
I don't like it on a sandwich, man. I just don't like mayonnaise.
We're
I
fighting.
just can't do it.
We're fighting, man. Don't dump no
Note
mayo.
to self: don't put mayonnaise on Zach. We'll get angry.
Come on, man.
I think you could put that with ananybody. I don't think anyone would appreciate that.
I don't think they would. Before we get to break, do have some bad news out of college football. The the Texas Bowl between TCU and Arkansas has been canceled due to COVID-19 issues. That is the 18th bowl game canceled. We'll talk more college football, talk more bowls. We'll talk Heismans and everything in between in the college football landscape with Brent Beard on the other side. So don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
If you're going on vacation, making a college campus visit, or if business takes you out of town, there's just no better place to board your dog than Barks and Recreation, 965 Reddick Cove between Bud Davis Cadillac and the Blue Plate Cafe in East Memphis. Boarding, daycare, grooming, we have the best of everything at Barks. Indoor-outdoor kennels so your family member can go in and out as they please. Indoor and outdoor play areas. 4 walks a day. Group play and individual attention from the best staff in the Mid-South, which includes an overnight staff to ensure the safety and comfort of your pet 24 hours a day. All reasons to choose Barks and Recreation above all other boarding and daycare facilities. BarksDaycare.com or 509-0909. Check us out and make your reservations now at BarksDaycare.com. If your dog could speak, he'd say Barks.
One thing I really admire about Central Barbecue is their commitment to quality.
Then why do they let you do their commercials?
I'm talking about their food. Everything is prepared with devotion to taking the time and effort to create perfect barbecue.
Oh, I know. That's exactly why I was wondering why...
They're not kidding with that slow-smoked Memphis-style slogan. They smoke their pork for 14 hours. Do they have to? They do if they want to be the best barbecue in Memphis, and they are.
And yet they let you just throw together...
There's nothing better than Central Barbecue because they care.
Except apparently about their radio ads.
James Davis is one of those stores that just says Memphis. It's an original. The finest men's clothing in Memphis can be found in the Laurelwood Shopping Center at James Davis. Let's start with the Stant Custom Fitting System. This is relatively new. You can only find it at James Davis Men's Store, and it's where you walk through the door. You're going to take 3 quick measurements, about 15 seconds, and then about a week later, you're going to get the perfect fitting shirt. I mean, in the neck where you can tie your ties comfortably, all kinds of colors, all kinds of fabrics. The same thing with pants. A couple of measurements. A week later, you've got a perfect fitting in the waist, in the leg, pair of pants that makes you feel good. And they still have the great Paul Battenley suit deal. 2 for $7.95. You look great on Zoom calls. Sweaters and pullovers, perfect for eating outside. The best place to go for men's clothing in Memphis. It's simple. James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
Well, welcome back. Hour 2 of the program, Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. No Wolo, no Stats. Drew Barrett, Gabe A. Coon filling in for Dave Lotion and Brett Norsworthy. Zach Boy producing the program as well. Before we get to more college football talk with Brent Beard from Jacksonville Way, Memphis Grizzlies have issued a statement here about 10 minutes ago via the Grizzlies PR Twitter account. According to the Memphis Grizzlies, their statement they provided in Monday's game against the Nets, obviously Ja Morant exited late in the second quarter after landing on an opponent's foot. Further imaging revealed a grade 2 ankle sprain with an expected recovery time of 3 to 5 weeks. So we're looking at a full month of January without Ja Morant.
Seems like they're trying to take it off of him because he is an explosive athlete. You got to be careful with those leg joints, truthfully, knees, ankles, anything like that.
And especially for a player that leaves his feet as much as Ja, you've got to take care of the joints for sure. But we're going to go ahead and switch back to college football with the college football guru himself from Jacksonville, Brent Beard. Brent, it's been a couple weeks since we've had you. I hope you had a great Christmas with you and yours last week, but we haven't had you on since the CFP was announced. So what were your initial thoughts on the Final Four in the college football playoff?
No real surprise. That really thought that was who it was going to be, and it really wasn't that Notre Dame was going to be the team in question. It was really Ohio State and Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
A&M had probably their biggest argument with Ohio State due to the reduced number of games that Ohio State played. It's a shame that he didn't get in. What the committee really should have done, guys, this year is to have added another game and had 6 teams instead of 4. If that would have happened, A&M gets in along with, and that would have been interesting to see who the other one would have been, frankly. But not really surprised. I knew they didn't want another Game 3 with Notre Dame and Clemson, of course. So And I think a lot of people think it's going to end up being an Alabama-Clemson, another game between those two powerhouses. So, but all in all, I think it's kind of what we thought it would be. Interesting day on January 1. I like the game as being on January 1, and hopefully they'll be able to get both of them in Friday.
There is a lot of back and forth about that Cincinnati team this year, and some people think absolutely not. Some people think absolutely throw them in there, give them a shot. Other teams have gotten killed by Bama as well. Where do you stand? How much of a case do you think there is, especially in this weird year, that there could have been a Cincinnati in the college football playoff?
Oh yeah, I think that could have happened. I've been a non-Power 5 guy for quite some time. Now they'll be playing with their hair on fire against Georgia in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. But guys, in 2018, I had the chance to be a part of the mock selection committee, and I could tell then that there was not a lot of respect for the Cincinnatis and the UCFs and the Memphises of the world within that committee, and that's a real shame. They deserve a chance. But guys, here's how it's going to go. The two ways for Cincinnati to get into the playoffs is going to be either expansion to 8 or that they actually come up with their own TV contract, their own playoffs, and do it themselves. So, unfortunately, those are the two ways that it's going to happen, because right now, I don't think there's any way in the world that Cincinnati would be the 4th team, but that they would be the 8th team, and they would deserve it. So that's how they would get there.
And out of those two situations that you just brought up, which one do you think is more likely?
Well, I mean, the quickest thing would be to expand the playoffs to 8, but that would still only allow probably one team in from the non-Power 5. If you now, people may scoff at this a little bit, but we've talked about this for years now on our segment, is for the non-Power 5 to basically move to the spring and have their own TV contract, have a lot of attention during that time, and to have their own playoffs. So I think that should be their ultimate goal, but the fastest way to get some kind of representation and to get some crumbs from the table would be to expand the playoffs to 8.
Yeah, and I certainly think that's an idea. I wonder about the group of 5 branching off, because, you know, being a former group of 5 football player, being in a position where I was on a team that was ranked in the college football playoff top 25, I wonder how much those guys even want to do something like that, given that they want to have it. They want to have a seat at the table with the big boys. They want to get a shot. They want to take those shots. But I think there's some good bowl games coming up today, tomorrow, even Thursday. But I think everyone's patiently waiting on those semifinal games. Obviously, Alabama versus Notre Dame. I think a lot of people think Alabama will roll. We will see. But that Clemson-Ohio State game, a rematch of last year, a lot of people early seem to be, favoring Clemson in that game. How do you see that one? Which way do you see that one going?
Well, I think Clemson probably will win, and the stat on that game that really sticks out to me is Ohio State's 104th in passing yards allowed, 261. I mean, good grief, what in the world can Clemson do with that? And the Ohio State's, as far as facing passing offenses, the best one they faced so far is 39th. So, frankly, Trevor Lawrence would certainly have to be excited about that. But look, Ohio State can win. There's no doubt with Justin Fields and what they could do in that game. But if you notice, Dabo is giving Ohio State a lot of bulletin board material.
A lot of extra motivation.
And when he does that, he knows he's got the team to back it up. So that's the other aspect to keep in mind as you see kind of how that thing develops. I mean, I get why people wanted to keep Ohio State out because they've only played so fewer games. I mean, good grief, compared to the ACC and the SEC, it's almost half the games that they have played. So I can understand that. But, guys, look, there's no way in the world, once they got started, I mean, the main goal for the Big Ten was to get their bell cow, Ohio State,
no question,
in there. Now, again, you can make the argument, too, that Ohio State played 2 games against Indiana and Northwestern. That was about it. So I get the other situation, but Fields keeps them in the game, I think, for quite some time. But look, with Lawrence back, with ETN running the way that he is, with the guys that they've got back now on defense that they didn't have against Notre Dame in Game 1, it's certainly going to be a tall order for Ohio State.
We're talking all things college football with Brent Beard. And Brent, one thing, going to one of the other Final Four CFP teams, Alabama obviously having 3 Heisman finalists with Mac Jones, Najee Harris, and Devontae Smith, who was the first Alabama and first whiteout to ever win the AP Player of the Year award being announced today. Do you think Devontae Smith has a chance to not only get the AP Player of the Year, but also that Heisman?
He could. Yeah, and again, obviously it's going to be how much do he and Mac Jones as quarterback split votes is what's going to be interesting. And I do think Kyle Trask is going to be involved heavily with this too, and you certainly can't rule out Trevor Lawrence winning. And I think that brings up the question is, do the Alabama players kind of cancel each other out and allow one of the other guys to kind of sneak in and win? But I'll say this, in my years of voting for the Heisman Trophy, this was one of the closest, most difficult votes I think we've had in quite some time. And then you throw Steve Sarkisian winning the Broyles Award. You've got 6 AP first-team All-Americans with Alabama in 8 total. 3/5 of the Waldron Camp Player of the Year. I mean, it's just it's when you play and have the year that they've got, you get the rewards. Cecil Hurd of the Tuscaloosa News had a great Twitter. He's got a convoy of trucks that are coming down the highway, and his caption was Alabama hardware being delivered today. And for them this week, that's kind of what it's been.
Yeah, it really has, Brent. And while I was doing my research about with wide receivers and Heismans, I have a question for you. Obviously, we know Tim Brown, wide receiver, won the Heisman, and Desmond Howard won the Heisman from Michigan. And I asked Brett this question. He said it was a really good question. It could kind of go either way, so I want to get your opinion on it. 1972, Johnny Rodgers, in a lot of different places, he's listed as a wide receiver / running back. In your opinion, is he a wide receiver that won the Heisman or a running back that won the Heisman?
Well, see, the thing about Johnny Rodgers, too, was he was one of the best punt returners in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was I would think about him probably more as a running back, but, boy, what a nice problem to have if you've got someone like that. And, look, probably a lot of people don't know who we're even talking about, but Johnny Rodgers for Nebraska in the early 70s was probably ahead of his time. He would be like Jalen Waddle of Alabama or David Palmer of Alabama or Kadarius Toney of Florida, someone of that ilk that just you could put him on a field and give him a head of steam, and that would be probably, guys, easily a half a dozen would-be tacklers who really couldn't even get a hand on him.
Yeah. I think this year is the year we might finally see another wide receiver get that situation.
Look, I think it needs to get beyond a quarterback award.
Right.
And kind of what we've got now is it's a best player on the best team award. So, and look, I would not have any problems at all in voting for a defensive player to be able to win the award. So, I mean, basically your criteria, if you go and read about the Heisman Trophy, it's basically the best player in America. No matter what. Look, for all intents and purposes, facetious won't happen, but you could vote a punter or a field goal kicker is.
You could. I don't know how long you'll have your vote after that.
Yeah, right. Precisely, but we really need to take a look at the award and where it's going.
Yeah, and I understand, the thought behind having a quarterback win it nearly every year. Usually those guys are the captain on their team. They do the most. They accrue the most stats, the most touchdowns, et cetera, so on and so forth. Now, there's been a lot of I wouldn't say a lot of, but there's been some movement in regards to the coaching carousel. And the most recent one that I want to sort of discuss with you here is the Auburn hiring of Brian Harsin from Boise State. Did a fantastic job at Boise State. Obviously one of the best group of 5 schools in the country, best job in the group of 5 you could possibly have. What did you make of that hiring at Auburn?
I think they backed into that hire. He was not their number one choice. They can say that, and all schools do. But look, from an X and O situation, he'll be fine. The problem that he's got really is 2 things. One, if you've never recruited in the SEC before, it's such a different animal, and it's so competitive and it's so cutthroat that's going to be really an eye-opening experience for him, to say the least. And look, Auburn's got to still sign basically half of a recruiting class. Because they've only signed about a dozen to 14 at this time. The other problem that he has not dealt with before, and that's not to say that Boise wouldn't have a little bit of the same, but Auburn has more, I can assure you, is the internal situation that they've got with boosters, and particularly the big money boosters who, let's be honest, paid the contract or the buyout offer Gus Malzahn. He's going to have to be able to deal with them too. So, is this guy a stopgap for a few years? Maybe. Could he do a really good job there? It's possible. But those are the things. And look, whoever he picks for staff, they're going to have to be some guys who have coached in the SEC before that he would really need on that staff. If he brings the current staff over, that could be problematic for him.
Right, and I think right when they made the move, and obviously this has been a move that's been talked about for years and years and years now with Gus.
His seat's been on fire since he got there.
You always wondered, when you got around to the coaching carousel of whatever year they decided to do it, they just happened to do it this year, who was going to be out there that could do a better job?
Sure.
And that was always my question, and I'm not convinced Brian Harsin is a guy. He could prove me wrong, but we'll have to see that. But the question now becomes, what happens with Gus Malzahn? Is he going to sit on this $21 million for a couple years, or do you think he gets right back into it?
I think he probably sits for a while. And look, man, you could, for that kind of money, you could buy several rocking chairs for the lake at Auburn to be able to sit on the back porch. I think it depends on how quickly that he has the itch to get back in. And again, here's the reality: for the last 7 years, Auburn has lost 4 games on average. Now, what that tells you is that Gus is frankly an average coach. Now, look, there are a lot of schools that would love to be 8-4 every year, but if you're going to be in the upper echelon of the SEC, that's not going to cut it. and that's what frustrated Auburn fans for a long time. Look, Auburn fans wanted Gus gone 3 to 5 years ago, frankly. But that will be interesting to see where that's going to go. And would he take a coordinator job, or would he do a Southern Miss type job,
Okay.
a school that you can go and reinvent yourself, throw the ball around without a whole lot of pressure, and then get back into it by degrees by doing something like that. So that's going to be interesting to see what Gus does.
To take that a little bit further, Brent, could Gus enter the Saban coaches rehabilitation program and become an intern or something along those lines at Tuscaloosa?
Well, I'm sure you probably, if it, that would be an interesting mix, to say the least. But I'm sure you could. And look, obviously, guys, there are a lot of coaches at this point, and Steve Sarkisian is one of those that will be glad to tell you. And there's also a former University of Tennessee coach who just went to Arkansas State who would tell you the same thing. But to Saban's credit, he likes to rehab guys. He certainly has done that with Sark, has he not? Look, Sarkisian now is guys, the thing we've heard, you probably have too, that at the end of the season, he may be rewarded with something like a $3 to $3.5 million coordinator contract, not head coach, but coordinator. I mean, that, and what I was told today by some Alabama media, that he really likes it there and very well may stay. So at this point, what Saban does in helping guys out, matter of fact, Major Applewhite was on the staff. He's the new OC at South Alabama, so that's part of it. Guys help Saban, and I'm sure in some way that they'll help him back somewhere down the line.
Yeah, you help Saban, you get that paycheck, and you're right back to where you ultimately were before. Brent, before we let you go, do want to just get your thoughts on Gators wide receiver Tony and Grimm's their announcement yesterday about sitting out the Cotton Bowl.
Listen, I'm going to be very honest with you. I really struggle with this. To me, look, if you're going to opt out either at the beginning of the year, like Osborne did, the wide receiver at A&M, or like Kyle Pitts did right after the SEC championship game, I can deal with that a whole lot more than I can deal with guys opting out 2 days before you play the game. Look, my concern about this may be a sermon for another day, is are we just teaching these guys how to quit? And that's kind of my outlook on this. I mean, for crying out loud, look, the guy who had the most and probably the biggest reason not to play is Kyle Trask. Nothing stopping Trask. He's going to play. So look, Marco Wilson, this handful of receivers. I thought now, will some of these other receivers have to step up? Could be the star of the game, sure. But guys, I really do not like at all this opting out. But I'll say this real quick. That's why this is another reason to expand the playoffs is you're having your stars not playing the bowl games. That hurts the bowl games. That's not what television wants. And they're also going to have to give players a reason to be in these bowl games, i.e., if that Oklahoma-Florida game is a quarterfinal, semifinal game, guys, you think they're all playing?
Oh, for sure. There's no question about it. They're definitely in there, and they're not even thinking one little shred about opting out.
Yep.
Brent, thanks so much for joining us, and hopefully the rest of the bowl games go off without a hitch, and we get some great college football over this New Year's holiday. Happy New Year's to you and yours, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Brent.
Can't wait, guys. Thanks much, okay?
Thanks. That is Brent Beard down Jacksonville way on all things college football. We're going to switch gears to the NFL when we come back with Jeff Moore, but don't forget to text us in 67129 to our First Bank text line for tickets provided by First Bank, the great people at First Bank, along with us here at Sports 56, giving you opportunities to go to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl in 2 days. Yeah, 2 days.
Yes.
December 31st. Had to look at my imaginary watch to get the date down there. But in 2 days, the AutoZone Liberty Bowl for West Virginia versus Army. And the way you enter in to win one of these 3 packets of 8 along with a red lot parking lot pass is just text us your name, who you're going to take, and what team you will be rooting for. And you can do that. We'll probably cut that off here in about an hour, about 5:30. That way we have plenty of time to reach out to our winners and let them know how they can get their tickets and parking pass. So text us right now your name, who you're going to take, and the team you will be rooting for in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl on our First Bank text line at 67129. Don't go anywhere. Jeff Moore on the other side with all things NFL right here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Memphis Tiger fans, catch the Blue and Gray Show with John Stacy and Drew Barrett, Sunday nights from 5 till 7, right here on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
All 36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte, ME 29910, MSRP 20,625, sold M7755,682, MSRP 20,315, K5MG 003,199, MSRP 25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title license with approved credit warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 12/31/20, dealer stock only.
Are you ready to be happy this holiday season? Well, we got you covered at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. So come be happy with Kia's holiday sales event. Command the season. 2020 Kia Forte, $142 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5, $192 a month lease. All just 36 months, $31.49 due at signing. Stay happy all season long with Forte, $142, Soul, $148, Kia K5, $192. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia, 2680 Mount Moriah or KiaMountMoriah.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Whether you're a pro on the job site or managing properties, clean and safe is your #1 priority. And Lowe's has the pro-grade cleaning supplies you need. We go beyond the basics, bringing you commercial cleaning from top brands like Clorox, Zep, and Rubbermaid. And in larger sizes, so you can take on any cleaning job, knowing you have the quantity you need. Shop Lowe'sForPros.com and have your items delivered, or pick up in store. Lowe's, the new home for pros. U.S. only.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, I'm Hayden Moore, General Manager of the all-new Wolf Chase Hyundai. Don't miss the Hyundai Holiday Sales Event, where for a limited time, get 0% APR for 72 months on the new 2020 Santa Fe's and Sonatas. Plus, make no payments for 5 months. Drive with Hyundai Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Plus, free delivery within 100 miles. Visit wolfchasehyundai.com with approved credit, $13.89 per month for every 1,000 financed. Example down payment 10%. Down payment will vary based on credit rating. First 5 monthly payments deferred. Offer ends January 3rd, 2021.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, 96.1 FM. No Wolo, no Stats. Drew Barrett, Gabe A. Kuhn filling in. Zach Boyd on the other side of the glass producing. Before we get to Jeff Moore, just do want to remind you still have time to text us into our First Bank text line 67129 to get in on winning one of the 3 sets of 8 tickets and a parking pass to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl in 2 days. Rules are simple. Just text your name, text who you're going to be taking and who you'll be rooting for, and we will draw those at about 5:30. But without further ado, as we are in Week 17, so much going on in the National Football Weekend, we got to bring in Jeff Moore on all things NFL. Jeff, hope you had a great holiday for you and your family, and let's just go ahead and get right into it with your former team, the Rams, now having dropped back-to-back games, must win this weekend against Arizona. Jared Goff is out. What are they going to do?
It's going to be tough sledding. The defense is really going to have to step up. Arizona, if they can pull it off and get some help, are in the playoffs, so they're going to bring their A game. But of course, their quarterback's a little banged up too. So it's going to be up to the Rams defense to see if they can contain the Cardinals. It should be a very good game.
Now, given that they're your former team, I know that maybe the guys have asked you about your thoughts on this guy before, but what are your thoughts on Jared Goff? I feel like, week in, week out, you don't really know what you're going to get from the guy. It's been sort of up and down. Well, what has your impression been since he's been there?
So he's been very inconsistent. And he is very talented. I think he really is a good fit for what Sean McVay wants to do in that offense. I like the way they started the season, relying less on his arm and his savvy and more on just a tough running game and a good offensive line. They seem to be struggling there right now. It may be good for them that Jared Goff is not in the lineup this weekend because they're going to have to rely more on the run. But to answer your question, he is not. He's been a guy that seems like he ascended, shortly after he came into the league, but he's kind of just been average at best over the last couple of years. And, of course, the Rams' record has proven that.
Yeah, it really has. It's just been so much up and down. He seems like he's on the verge of being an elite quarterback and then just falls off for a couple weeks and then brings it right back, and has just got to get that consistency down in his game. Jeff, other big storyline going on in the National Football League, especially around the playoffs in the NFC East. Everyone is technically, besides the Eagles, is still alive and must win. And the Cowboys are going to mess around and actually, I think, might get into the playoffs. Are they your favorite to get in and be after beating, I believe, the Giants on Sunday?
They are. I mean, I think the Redskins that just they're struggling. I think the Cowboys, with 2 wins behind them, feel like they're overachieving if they can win the division and get into the playoffs. It gives them something to play for. I think it'll mean more to them and I think there's a good chance they get in there. That's funny.
Right, that NFC East has just—I mean, the back
It's been
half of the
weird,
season.
man. It's been a weird year.
I can't remember a year quite like it. I remember the NFC West one year was won by the Seahawks, I think, at 8-8. But the fact that you're likely going to have a 7-9 team win the NFC East going into this year, I don't think anyone thought that a possibility. But we're looking right now at a team in the Browns, who has not made the playoffs since 2002, hasn't won a playoff game since 94. And me and Drew have sort of debated this. If they get into the playoffs, and whether they win or lose, is Kevin Stefanski, their coach this year, likely the coach of the year, or does a guy like Brian Flores end up with it? What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I'm still a little bullish on Sean McDonough at the Bills.
Yep.
But I think he's a really worthy candidate. I mean, the job that he's done has been, outstanding.
No question.
I could see him. A lot of people could be seriously considering him for Coach of the Year. No question about it.
Staying with the Browns, they basically got a late Christmas present today from Pittsburgh with the news that Mike Tomlin saying that Big Ben will not be starting. It will be Mason Rudolph. And do you like that move by the Steelers? I know they've got their firm in the playoff, but seeding is still up in the air. And ultimately, the Browns have everything to play in, win, and they're in. So how do you feel about sitting guys the last week when there technically is still something to play for?
So it just depends on the player. And in this case, we know Ben is a warrior. I mean, he's probably played under a lot more adverse circumstances than we realized. And then I trust their coach. So if they concluded that it's better, and of course, I think a lot of this is predicated on the fact that Ben finally played a great game this past weekend. I understand he actually went away from his offensive coordinator's play calling in the first half and called most of the plays himself in the second half, which is what made the difference in that game. But given that he played so well, I think he's just hurting a lot more than we realized, and I think it's wise to sit him down. I would prefer to see him maybe play a series or two, but I yield. I think they know better than me.
Now, I think it about halfway through the season, a lot of people resigned themselves to the fact that, the Chiefs might repeat. The Chiefs are in a good position. Patrick Mahomes, that offense looks fantastic. They have a really good pass defense. So people sort of resigned to the fact that they're the prohibitive favorite. Now, I think as we've gotten later in the season, the Bills have come along. The Steelers have fallen off a little bit. But what teams in the NFL at this moment do you think are capable of winning a championship this season?
I like Buffalo. I like the way they play on both sides of the ball. I love their quarterback. Love their coaching staff. Love the way they play effort-wise, even on special teams. I love Green Bay. But are we talking about in the AFC or are we talking about
I was just talking in the entire NFL.
Yeah, so I love Buffalo. I love New Orleans. I think they've gotten a new mojo. They're really believing in themselves, even without Michael Thomas. I like the Saints. I love Green Bay. Of course, Kansas City. I like the Steelers. I like what the Steelers have shown over this last week in particular when their backs were really against the wall. So those are the teams I really like. I kind of picked the Saints and the Kansas City at the beginning of the season. So far I'm going to stick with that. But I can see that changing. I do not think the Chiefs are as dominant this year, maybe even as they were last year.
Right.
And I think they're very beatable. As a matter of fact, any of those teams I named, I think are very beatable, which is going to make, for me, a very exciting playoffs to watch.
Yeah, it's for certain is still wide open. We're talking with Jeff Moore, former Ram, Tennessee Volunteer. Jeff, Dave's obviously not here, so I've got to ask it in his absence. His Bears win and get in against the team that you really like in the Packers here on Week 17. Do the Bears continue their 3-game win streak and make it to 4 and get into the playoffs somehow after losing, 6 in a row?
I would love to see that happen. We'll see. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, but it would be great to see that happen.
By any means necessary. They have had
a
turbulent year, and now, heck, they even have a report about them signing back Mitchell Trubisky. So I wonder how Dave feels about that. But another team that is sort of came and went this year, and I say that knowing where they came from before this guy got hired, and John Gruden and the Raiders.
Yes.
How much longer, and I know they signed him to a 10-year deal, how much longer do you give a guy like that, given what he has spit out over these past 3 seasons?
Man, that is such a great question. I think this owner is going to probably give him more time than most because he doesn't want to admit he made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I was the guy that thought John Gruden would have better success. Unfortunately, with the success of the coach of Green Bay and the success of the 49ers, some of these young coaches, Coach Gruden just doesn't get a pass with me. I mean, I expect the same standard. Those guys go to teams that are struggling, just like he did, and they turn it around.
Right.
I think he had a good quarter. So I guess the long story short, I would not give him the amount of years that I think his owner is going to give him. But I think he clearly is not going to get that team turned around. I don't see that anything changing for them over the next couple of years because the Chiefs are going to be there. And the Chargers have a great young quarterback to build around, too. So I expect them as well. So it'll be interesting. That's a great question. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Raiders.
It just goes to show that if you get have a good relationship with ownership, you never know how long that takes you.
This is true.
With that Raiders sitting in that tough division, the very tough spot, obviously I think Derek Carr's a great quarterback. I think that he has the talent to play in the NFL, but for John Gruden and the Raiders, is it time to maybe cut ties, have Derek Carr go somewhere else, and you bring in a quarterback of the future in the draft?
I like Derek Carr as the quarterback. I think it's more the complementary part to that offense, and their defense are the reasons that they haven't been more successful. I don't think it's Derek Carr. But I think it wouldn't hurt them to start bringing along a young guy to be prepared to play when Derek Carr is no longer their quarterback. But I think Derek Carr could start on most teams in the NFL. If he were to become available, I think a lot would want him. I mean, the guy, he's talented. His receivers have been up and down. He's got a great tight end, but his receivers, have not been consistently good. And his running game is just starting to get where it needs to be. So they got to get better on defense, and I think they'll be okay.
We're talking all things NFL with Jeff Moore. Jeff, before we let you go, MVP race, it's getting close in the NFL. Who's your MVP right now going into Week 17?
Aaron Rodgers, to me,
Great
has done more with less. And, we know Devontae Parker is just an incredible talent. But outside of them, their running game has been consistent. Their defense has gotten better. But to me, the fact that the Green Bay Packers didn't really aggressively go after any additional help on offense, and he came back and had the year he had, man, he's unbelievable. He's my guy.
I think he's a lot of people's guy, and I would not be shocked if Aaron Rodgers wins his third in National Football League MVP. Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. Hope you and your family have a great New Year's, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.
That is Jeff Moore, former Los Angeles Ram and Tennessee Volunteer. here on the other side of the break, we're going to get to more Grizzlies basketball. Also going to preview tonight's Tiger game against the Bulls of South Florida. So don't go anywhere, and be sure to continue to text in, if you haven't already, your name, who you'll be taking, and which team you'll be rooting for to enter a chance to win one of 3 8-seat packets and parking pass to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl for West Virginia versus Army, courtesy of the great people at First Bank. So text into our First Bank text line 67129. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Tigers and Grizzlies right here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
You have opinions?
I think they got a lot of athletic ability.
We want to hear them.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you.
Call us on the First Bank phone line at 360-8255 or text us on the First Bank text line at 67129.
Experience elevated luxury at Genesis of Wolf Chase. Push the limits of style and performance with the all-new first-ever 2021 Genesis GV80. With the perfect balance of luxurious amenities and rugged off-road capabilities, or drive the cutting-edge G80 packed with intuitive technology and unmatched luxurious amenities. All with Genesis Concierge Service. Free pickup and delivery, free oil changes, and car washes. Shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit wolfchasegenesis.com.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
Kick off your New Year's weekend at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl as the West Virginia Mountaineers take on the Army Black Knights. It's all happening Thursday, December 31st at 3 o'clock. We'll be following all of the required health and safety guidelines to provide you the safest conditions possible. So wear your mask and join us at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. For tickets, call 795-7700 or go to Ticketmaster.com. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
O'Reilly.
This is Derek's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
After the third time jump-starting my car, I finally realized my battery was dying. So I stopped by O'Reilly to have it checked. They tested it right there in the parking lot. It was bad, real bad. But they helped me find the right battery for my car and even installed it for free. Now my car starts like new.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm Hayden Moore, General Manager of the all-new Wolf Chase Hyundai. Don't miss the Hyundai Holiday Sales Event, where for a limited time, get 0% APR for 72 months on the new 2020 Santa Fe's and Sonatas. Plus, make no payments for 5 months. Drive with Hyundai Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Plus, free delivery within 100 miles. Visit wolfchasehyundai.com with approved credit, $13.89 per month for every $1,000 finance. Example down payment, 10%. Down payment will vary based on credit rating. First 5 monthly payments deferred. Offer ends January 3rd, 2021.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome into Sports Time with Wolo and Stats on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1. No Wolo, no Stats. Drew Barrett, Gabe A. Coon filling in for the absentee Wolo and Stats. I am. I'm probably going to do it for until it gets boring.
I'll give you one day.
Until it gets boring, I'm going to continue to do it.
I'll give you one day. You can get one day with it.
Zachary,
we'll have our fun.
NJ Boyd, right? NJ Boyd, producing the show, doing a great job as always. And like I said before, don't forget, text in. You got about 30 minutes until we pick our 3 winners from the First Bank text line for the great AutoZone Liberty Bowl tickets provided by the great people at First Bank. So be sure to send in your name, who you'll be taking, and who you'll be rooting for to our First Bank text line 67129. But we do have some college football action going on right now, don't we, Gabe?
We sure do. In Orlando right now, the Cheez-It Bowl is underway. Started at 4:30. Oklahoma State, number 21 team in the country versus the number 18 team in the country in Miami. Oklahoma State has the early lead and the ball 7-0 right this second. Again, only 6 minutes off of the clock in the first quarter, but looks like Oklahoma State's quarterback Spencer Sanders has started very hot. 8 for 10, 75 yards, and a TD on that first drive.
That's not looking good for me. I have not done very good in the bowls.
Hey, it's a lot of ball play.
Well, I know, but I have not done very good in the bowls, Gabe. Brett sent me the breakdown of our picks. Well, in the regular season, I broke even. I broke exactly even if I would have bet my own money on every college football game we picked. I was 46-46.
Okay.
Which isn't bad. Not bad.
You had
not
some good
losing,
underdogs,
not
I'm sure,
grading.
at some point.
Yeah, I probably had some good underdogs that I would have taken, a little bit more money, would have gotten some better odds on. So I might have.
But you didn't take any of them.
The few I did, I actually won. I mean, I've been actually kind of killing the FanDuel.
Okay.
I really have, especially college football. NFL, not so much. I'm like 10 to 15 games under 500 in the NFL. And the bowl games this year, through the 10 that's already been played that we've picked, I'm 3-7. Not doing too well in the bowl. So
well, also, to be fair, sometimes you pick a team and then they have a ridiculous amount of opt-outs for the NFL draft, and those are naturally their best players. So it's tough. It's tough.
That's why I honestly have not put any money on the bowl games. Any of my own money on the bowl games, because it is just
Probably
so hard.
Idea.
It's so hard to predict. I mean, and unless you know exactly who's going to be there, and it can obviously change within seconds of kickoff, it's kind of just, I think, a crapshoot, and you're just hoping to land on a 7 or 11. But we do have some college football action tonight. We got number 20 Colorado taking on number 20 Texas. My fault, taking on Colorado in the Alamo Bowl. Gabe, Tigers, big game for them tonight, obviously, with South Florida coming in. Both teams 1-1 in the conference. South Florida coming off of a win at Cincinnati, a good road win. We've seen a lot of teams play well on the road in this 2021 COVID-19 type of year, with basically no fans to very little in the stands in these arenas around college basketball. Hopefully that trend stops tonight and Penny is able to get it going with this new Lion offense. And when he came out and described it, we're not gonna play small anymore. We're gonna work the ball inside. We're gonna have a lot more ball movement. I don't want to be critical, but at the same time, when he said that, I was like, well, yeah. That's what you need to do. There's too much people. There's too many people being flat-footed out there.
Yeah, right.
You're relying too much on the three. I didn't play in the NBA, but Penny, I kind of knew that.
So again, and I like the thought of motion, okay, because that is the Tigers might have the most stagnant half-court offense
flat-footed people
I
I've
have
ever
seen in the history of history. But I'm concerned in regards to entering it into your bigs. Now, DeAndre Williams, I think, can do some things around the rim, has some offensive game around the rim, same with DJ Jeffries. I get that part. But if you're talking about giving Musa Cisse the ball on the block, I don't like his.
Unless it's an alley-oop.
Yeah, he
I don't
doesn't
know
have an
where
offensive game.
It's coming from, yeah.
So I hope that's not what he means. I hope they don't get Musa Cisse in back-to-the-basket situations at all.
And with not going small, you obviously think that creates more time for Lance Thomas, who, while last year didn't have that bad of a year. I mean,
inconsistent, all get out.
But had a decent first year transferring from Louisville for the Tigers last season, but this year it's not there. And
yeah.
I know what type of player Lance can be. We've seen flashes in the pan of it, but right now it's just not there. So you're wondering what type of minutes that allows for him. Malcolm Dandridge obviously not having a very good season thus far. I think it really puts emphasis on, especially if you're going to try to get the ball inside and not play small, that you're putting a lot of weight on DJ Jeffries and DeAndre Williams.
Yes.
And if they don't succeed, then it's gonna be a bad time.
I feel like we're thinking too hard about this.
We're overanalyzing it?
Yeah. Like Lion.
King of the jungle.
Lion.
What are we doing
What
here,
do-
Zach?
what-
Where are
Lion.
you going with
Lion, got it. Yes.
this?
Animal.
I understand, Zach.
Animal with me.
Right.
We're playing charades. I got it.
They're lying about the Lion offense.
Oh, they're lying about
Big brain
It's gonna be
energy
the
over
same
here.
thing, is what you're- is
It's
what
not
you're
gonna be.
getting
It's
at.
You're
something.
saying
It's gonna be no
It's
different.
gonna be different, of course. But obviously, like when I heard like, yeah, we're gonna run a Lion offense. I'm like, yeah, they're definitely lying. Like, they're definitely.
But also, the question becomes, with putting in an offense so quick, how locked in are they on the game plan?
Exactly.
How
I mean,
well are they going to execute it? And
it's been a week.
Generally, like, I would say they're not going to execute it all that well, given that they just learned this thing. They just implemented it. So, to be honest, for me, offensively tonight, I don't have that high of expectations. What I do have an expectation on is the Tigers better win this game. They have to win this game, because could you imagine what it will look like tomorrow, what the feeling around the program will be tomorrow, especially with the fan base, if they drop another one at home to a middling AAC team. I can't imagine what that's going to look like.
It's going to be bad. I mean, obviously, that's just the expectations that we put on this program, especially led by one of our favorite sons in Penny Hardaway, and the expectations coming into the year. They're obviously will get killed on our text line, on our phone lines, on social media, a lot more than the Grizzlies would have if they dropped the game last night, or how many games they're probably going to drop, over the next 3 to 5 weeks without Ja Morant over the next month. So the thing about criticism, especially in Memphis, is we treat college players like pros and the pros like college players. We give too much leniency towards the Grizzlies because they're rebuilding or they'll leave, and can't be mean about the Grizzlies. But the Tigers, they drop anything. Good Lord, fire everybody, burn it down, burn down the Lori Walton Arena. I don't know why we spend money on that. These guys are just terrible. You can't have it. Grizzlies leaves. Hey, it's okay, guys. 72 seasons.
Pat him on the back. But the good news
it's good, guys. Grit and grind. Come
good
on,
news
baby.
for the
We got it.
Tigers. They're at full strength tonight.
Are
Alex
at full
Lomax will be available, and Malcolm Dadrich will be available.
Not trying to undersell. I mean, I'm a huge Tiger fan. I get the expectations. I'm all for it. But by golly, we got to start treating college players like college players, professionals like professionals. It's not that hard. Sorry to go on that little side rant, but that's what it's going to be like. We're going to treat Alex Lomax, DJ Jeffries, and the rest of them like it's LeBron James out there, or like it's Ja Morant, Valanciunas, and company out there. We put the expectation so high on these 18 to 21-year-olds, while the 21-year-olds, the 35-year-olds, just get a pat on the back. Go get them next year, guys.
Yep.
Woo! Here we
That's how it
go.
works.
Great and grind. Grizz love forever. Now, I'm all for the Grizzlies. Don't think I'm trying to slay anybody. I just think it is a little bit backwards. We are going to switch gears, go back to the NFL with Bo Marchand from collegetopro.com. Got a bone to pick with him about his Steelers. We were texting earlier. I meant to text him back that I told him earlier that I wanted to thank Pittsburgh. Now I've got to take it back because they're giving the Browns a win. And I hate Cleveland. So I'm going to take my thank you back from Bo Marchand on the other side. So don't go anywhere. Hour 3 of the program right around the corner, right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
You hear the phrase a lot this time of year, happy holidays. But holidays are not always happy, particularly for guys grappling with a divorce that they didn't choose. These men need more than the help of a good lawyer. They need the hope and encouragement of a good friend.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Memphis attorneys. Online at CordellCordell.com. Office in Memphis, 6000 Poplar Avenue, Suite 225, Memphis, Tennessee, 38119.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Hi, I'm Hayden Moore, General Manager of the all-new Wolf Chase Hyundai. Don't miss the Hyundai Holiday Sales Event, where for a limited time, get 0% APR for 72 months on the new 2020 Santa Fe's and Sonatas. Plus, make no payments for 5 months. Drive with Hyundai Assurance, America's best 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Plus, free delivery within 100 miles. Visit wolfchasehyundai.com with approved credit, $13.89 per month for every $1,000 finance. Example down payment 10%. Down payment will vary based on credit rating. First 5 monthly payments deferred. Offer ends January 3rd, 2021.
Hi, I'm Tito Beverage, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, I started the first micro distillery in the state of Texas with my dog, Dog Joe, at my side. We're still working with dogs out at the distillery after all these years. Learn more about how dogs are a part of life here at Tito's Handmade Vodka at vodkafordogpeople.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka is made from corn and naturally gluten-free. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sportstime on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sportstime is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
.com for problem gambling support. Bet on college football on New Year's Day with an exclusive 25-1 odds boost on FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook giving new users an exclusive 25-1 odds boost on the 2 biggest college football games of the year. That means you can pick either Notre Dame or Alabama or Clemson or Ohio State, then bet just $5 for a chance to win $125. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same game, parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events, and bet insurance to let you get more action out of every game day. And unlike other sportsbooks, once you win, FanDuel gets you your cash in as little as 24 hours. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. But right now, the right thing for you to do is download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and use the promo code CASH to take exclusive advantage of your 25-1 college odds boost. Remember, that's FanDuel Sportsbook promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. Must wager on designated boost market. Deposit required. Max bonus $125. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. Our final hour brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area, and they wish everyone a happy 2020. 2021. Go online at DeSotoAutoSales.com and check out the many happy referrals from customers for the year 2020 and look at the beautiful cars they have. Or come down to 5704 Goodman Road to DeSoto Auto Sales, where all the cars are test driven, checked out bumper to bumper, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you. Kind, courteous employees, laid back atmosphere, no high pressure sales, because they want you to enjoy the ultimate car experience. They know we live in a world today that time matters, and that's why they will have you in, deal with your sales rep, test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed in 45 minutes or less, in time to do it right now, right after work, or during your busy lunch hour. DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto County for that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
Welcome back to Sports Time here on Sports 56, 98.5, 96.1. No Wolo, no stats. Drew Barrett, Gabe A. Kuhn filling in for Dave and Brett. Zach Boyd on the other side of the glass producing the program, doing a fantastic job. Before we get to NFL and Bo Marchant, be sure to continue to text in to the First Bank text line 67129 to enter a chance to win AutoZone Liberty Bowl tickets and a parking pass. I only have 3 parking passes, but Gabe, I'm really bad apparently at counting and looking at numbers on tickets. So we've actually have 2 sets of 4, a set of 6, and then I believe another set of 6.
More chances to win.
I'm pretty bad at counting. So we have 4 sets instead of 3. Only 3 parking passes, though. So we'll have to determine how that goes in, and we'll select numbers. We'll pick them at random. So make sure you get in your name, who you'll be taking, and who you'll be rooting for in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Thanks to the great people at the First Bank for providing these tickets for our listeners. Bo Marchant from collegetopro.com. Bo, I think you might have been on the line before we went to break, and I previewed all the things we were going to talk about, and I had told everybody, I texted you earlier, and I said, thank you, Pittsburgh, but now I got to take it back because you know how much I hate Cleveland and how much I can't stand those people that think that they're as good as me. And now you are basically giving them the game.
Yeah, it's self-preservation for everybody, Drew. I mean, the Steelers know that a healthy Ben Roethlisberger is going to be their best chances for success. And this game really doesn't hold much, in terms of benefits. Even if they win, home field advantage is not what it was with COVID in place. So they're going to rest Ben. I think with Mason Rudolph, though, I'll be there Sunday for the game. I still think it's intriguing in terms of just, what Mason Rudolph brings to the table, where there'll be any residue of the Myles Garrett, Mason Rudolph, So those are some of the things that I look at, and depending on how many guys that they rest and how many starters they go after. But, I think Mason Rudolph will really, have an axe to grind, and Myles Garrett will probably, have an axe to grind himself. So I think that's a little game within the game. But nonetheless, you know what, and I told you this earlier when we were texting, Drew, I think your Ravens are hot. I think they're a team. I don't care who they play first round. Probably going to be the Steelers. The way that the Ravens are playing right now, I just don't see them entering the playoffs. And I know we all know about Lamar Jackson's playoff history, but I think that's an opportunity to prove his critics wrong, and get off the snide and get the Ravens a playoff win. I just think they're a hot, dangerous team. I love Harbaugh as a coach, and I think anywhere that they go in the first round, I would consider them almost a favorite to walk out. And I think if you look at the AFC odds in terms of Super Bowls, I think they are ahead of the Steelers and the Browns. So just something to think about as these playoffs are upon us.
These Ravens fans just can't get enough. You got to
all is forgiven, Bo. All is
forgiven.
forgiven. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Right. They haven't been in since 2002. Let them get 1 year.
Nope.
1 year. That's all they're asking for. Let Big Ben sit on the bench and let the Browns get that win. But also, I noticed something today, Bo. You look at that Rams and that the Cardinals matchup for the last week. You have 2 quarterbacks and Jared Goff and Kyler Murray who might be hurt, but the backups actually caught my eye because one of them is a former Blue Bomber. Chris Streveler, what do we need to know about him? I'm sure you have some familiarity.
Yeah, he did us right. He came in at a critical time for the Blue Bombers, and, he's walking away with a a Grey Cup ring, and eternally grateful for that. But at the end of the day, we know it's the NFL. It's still a different game. I don't know where to go with this in terms of how he's going to perform, and who knows what's going to go on opposite of with Bortles or how they're going to do things with the Rams. But nonetheless, I mean, he was fantastic for us, and when a lot of these guys, when they get the chance to, if you play in the CFL, if you have that opportunity, then when the phone rings, to play in the NFL, it's a wonderful opportunity. It's life-changing money. CFL is not life-changing money. It's almost 9 to 5 money that most of us middle-class people make. But nonetheless, you're doing something you love. And on the flip side, that's not maybe something that everybody can say. But, the CFL, it's always at my heart. It's a great opportunity. And when you see guys do enough to get that exposure and get themselves back in the NFL good graces, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it really is. It's going to be an interesting matchup, CFL versus a former AAF Arizona Hotshots quarterback. So we've got some interesting storylines this week for sure, Bo. But I want to get this point with the Dwayne Haskins news and everything, with him basically within a week getting his captaincy taken away. Now he's being released. Do you see him getting another shot in the NFL?
Yeah, I do. I mean, he's too young. I mean, he's our first-round pick, top 15. So, I was never high on Haskins. I'm not high on Ohio State quarterbacks. Just, you look at the past history under Meyer. I just think that speaks volumes. And, even with Justin Fields, I've done some draft shows where we've discussed it. And, you look at their body at work at the collegiate level. You can't argue it, but it's just a different dynamic when you come to the NFL and the things you have to do. And those are the things that aren't asked of you at Ohio State. With that said, I didn't know Haskins in terms of the mental side, how he would be a locker room, a dysfunction in the locker room and the things he brought to the table in that aspect. I just know him mostly, watching his tape and seeing what he was doing athletically. But at the end of the day, I mean, even last year, they tried to avoid using him. And when you have a guy as a first-round quarterback, if they're not using you, then you're not up to par, you're not up to snuff, you're not getting it. And, we've kind of seen it unravel quickly. But long story short, I do believe someone will say, hey, you know what, he's not that far gone. He's only in his second season. Let's see if we can, fix whatever was going wrong in Washington and make some of it. And, I'm going to, seeing what Ryan Tannehill's been able to do without Adam Gase and how he's kind of blossomed in Tennessee, I'm just kind of looking at all these guys. We could have the Josh Rosens as well. He wasn't able to succeed in Miami or Arizona, but, maybe Dwayne Haskins can go somewhere, and, get a different perspective and say, hey, well, I blew this shot in Washington. I still want to have an NFL career and get things underway. But I know he went unclaimed off waivers today, but nonetheless, we have a long off season, and teams are always going to be curious, especially with his high draft marks, and again, so soon being cut.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned it, especially under Meyer now, Ryan Day at Ohio State, that quarterbacks, while at Ohio State, have been really good, but none of them have panned out. Ultimately, who was the last Ohio State quarterback to have a good NFL or good to decent NFL career? And is that a Ohio State problem that they need to fix, or could ultimately hurt them later down the line when it comes to recruiting that position?
Well, you know what? I maybe Bobby Hoyne. I don't know. I mean, the recent run of quarterbacks. You think of J.T. Barrett, Terrell Pryor,
Cardell Jones.
Jones, and Dwayne Haskins. I know I'm missing another one in there. They just haven't had good NFL careers, but then again, when their collegiate careers, I mean, they're just off the charts, Heisman-worthy type seasons and careers. So, it's the system they play at Ohio State, and I mean, listen, if you root for the Buckeyes, you want to see a former Buckeye go on to the NFL and do great things, but they're mostly concerned what they're doing on a Saturday in downtown Columbus, and if they're going to win a Big Ten championship, and if they're going to be in the college football playoff. I mean, if you could ask a Buckeye fan, hey, you know what, you're going to lose to Michigan, and you're not going to make it to the college football final, but Justin Fields is going to go on and win 3 Super Bowls, they're going to say, well, we don't care what he does with whatever team. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's not going to hurt Ohio State. These guys are 5-star blue chip prospects, and hopefully Justin Fields changes. I looked at the Oregon quarterbacks for the longest time under the same microscope. These guys are, with Chip Kelly putting up monstrous astronomical numbers in Oregon, and then lo and behold, you had to start scratching your head. Each one of these guys was coming out, and they weren't doing things, and boom, this Justin Herbert kid shows up, and he looks, he breaks the rookie 2D record with 28, and he looks great. So he's kind of broken off that mold. Hopefully, Justin Fields can do that as well. When I'm watching, Justin Fields has made a few throws, and we could probably dissect everybody when you really start breaking them down, but he's made a few throws that I really think were just fantastic. One sticks, and I think it was against Indiana last year, and I could be wrong, but I mean, he was sitting on the left side of the field, and his whole body was going towards the left, and he was able to turn his hips and fire a ball to the right side corner and make a touchdown pass. And I'll send you the highlight, Drew, later. But when you see that play, you're just kind of like, wow, if you can do that, there's something special about you.
So along the lines of that conversation, I think it's consensus that Trevor Lawrence is the number 1 overall pick, the number 1 quarterback, and I don't know if that will change unless something drastic happened, God forbid an injury or something like that. Even then, I don't know. But who is behind? Is it Justin Fields, or is a guy like Zach Wilson gaining ground? What does it look like behind him?
But the hot name was Trey Lance from North Dakota State. I mean, he was the hot name kind of coming in. He was that guy that was right behind Justin Fields, and Trevor Lawrence was the number 1 guy. I think Zach. I mean, you could maybe. I don't think Matt Jones is going to get that high in this draft process, but I still think Trey Lance is. I think once the combine starts to roll, teams really kind of get into the dissection of these guys and move forward to the 2020 draft. I think Trey Lance will continue to slot himself as that second, third quarterback. And, I was fortunate enough to see him play last year at YSU. And, me, I'm sitting there in the press box and I got my notes for the Bombers, and, I'm like, wow, man, like maybe this Trey Lance guy, he's a freshman. Maybe we're going to be able to snag this guy, and lo and behold, I come to realize that, every single,
you're not the only one that noticed.
Yeah. It's kind of like, saying, hey, what, I think J-Lo's a pretty lady. I think we all know that. So, the joke was on me that I was the last one to find out about how good Trey Lance was, but and I always, seeing a guy in person is always, they make that impression. Jameis Winston did it when his first game at Heinz Field when Thursday night. And, I know he's on the bench in New Orleans, but we know what kind of career he had from the first start at Florida State, up to that point where, he's in New Orleans. So, if Trey Lance could be that guy, I think he would be a fun guy to watch. And, real quick, not to get off subject, since we've been talking about so much CFL stuff, I remember the one summer I was up in Winnipeg, and I remember one of our things we were talking. One of the scouts brought up, North Dakota, they got this kid named Carson Wentz. Again, this is before he becomes the top prospect. Right. And, you just don't know how the season's going to go. And North Dakota and Winnipeg, you're talking 3-hour drive. So, they're in their backyard. So you're like, hey, bring this kid north, and lo and behold, he's the second pick behind Goff, and the rest is history. But just funny how these careers and trajectories kind of, change with the ebbs and flows.
They've had a heck of a run, North Dakota State, on quarterbacks too. You got Carson Winston, Easton Stick, then Trey Lance. They have not been hurting at that position.
They're a powerhouse for a definite reason. We're talking with Bo Marchand from collegetopro.com. And Bo, real quick, because I know we got a lot more NFL stuff I will want to get to, but we're talking about quarterbacks, we're talking about the draft, we're talking about potential pros. Brady White here at the University of Memphis said after the Montgomery Bowl that he will not be coming back for his 19th year of college football and will enter the NFL draft. Do you see him getting taken, or is he a not undrafted free agent type of guy?
Yeah, you know what? Right now, I'd have to say he's an undrafted guy, but that could change. And even if he does get his name called, it's probably going to be on Saturday, and you're going to probably be looking at the 6th or 7th round. But, that's not a bad thing. I mean, you're only going to have maybe, 7 to 11 quarterbacks drafted. It's a small window. So, I mean, it usually seems like the undrafted quarterbacks have a sneakier way of making it on the roster than a lot of these late round guys. I don't know. And, somebody could, look at the numbers and say I'm astronomically wrong, but it just seems the tendencies is, if you don't get in, when it's good to hear your name called. That's the thing you grow up to dream about. You hear your name, but there's a lot of things that go into being a late round pick. I mean, if that your agent's taking phone calls from Team A, Team B, and TC, and Team C has a lot of depth, and Team B doesn't. You at least have an opportunity to kind of pick and choose where you want to go. You might have a former college coach that's really going to back you where you're going. There's a lot of things that play out in just terms of saying, hey, you know what, Drew, this is where you're going, this is where you ended up, because you really have no choice, and you get there. But at the end of the day, I'd say at this point, I'd say undrafted. But, if things and fortunes turn his way, I think 6th or 7th round are still a very plausible outcome for him.
So we've had 2 weeks in a row now where the Jets decided that they were going to be the best team in the league and win games. So they're now 2-13. They've fallen out of the running for that number one, or they're 2-13. Yes.
Yes.
And they've fallen out of the running for that number one pick. Obviously, I think the Jags will take Trevor Lawrence. We sort of alluded to that a little bit earlier. But if you're the Jets and you're in that situation, is Darnold your guy? Is Darnold a guy that you're comfortable going forward with, or do you go ahead and try to find a QB of the future in the draft?
No, I'm not that down on Sam Darnold. I'm really down on Adam Gase. I just don't think he's been able to develop Sam Darnold. That's kind of supposed to be what he's able to do, is nurture these guys. And we saw it with Ryan Tannehill when Adam Gase was in Miami. It's just Ryan Tannehill was good, but he just never got better. And now we see him. He's playing really well. The Jets. It's kind of I kind of look at the movie Major League, where, ownership, they're trying to do different things, but the team wants to win. And teams, the front office is going to rebuild, and that's what they're trying to do in New York. They jettisoned Jamal Adams, out to Seattle for picks. They're trying to get draft capital. At the end of the day, I don't know if Gase will be there, but I wouldn't be, disappointed if I was a Jets fan if they retained Sam Darnold, because, listen, we know, everyone out there knows. I mean, it's great to talk about Trevor Lawrence. It's great to talk about Fields. But until they play and they prove it, you're already hearing people critique, does Tua Tagovailoa, is he a buster? The guy played but people are so critical, and then, and they immediately go, well, Justin Herbert's doing it. But that, every case is different. But at the end of the day, I think Sam Darnold is a good quarterback. And when you look at the whole environment of that New York Jets offense, there is not a lot to work with there. I don't think so. I think he's done his best. He's not, he hasn't played bad. I think we could talk about a lot more quarterbacks out there that have done a lot worse. But, Penny Sewell, the Oregon Ducks left tackle, that you probably have to say, this is maybe a direction that they might go and start addressing the line. And they have a ton of money to spend if that's something they elect to do. So if you're a Jets fan, I know you have to be very, very disappointed, aggravated, frustrated. You're the joke and, brunt of everything that goes on bad in the NFL because, the way that the front office and the team has performed. But nonetheless, they're going to be picking second. And I don't think, I would put it this way, how I felt about the quarterbacks at Ohio State. So I don't really know if you're doing anything, good by going that route. I think you kind of you take a step back.
The question that consistently needs to come up in situations like that, or, it needs to be, is that guy going to step in and do any better than the starter you have right now? And I don't know with Adam Gase that anybody can go into that situation and win consistently. And maybe you can enlighten me on this. I've been saying it. I've been beating this drum the whole year. You've seen Adam Gase throw his guys in there. They've gotten extra hurt. His left tackle, Mekhi Becton, who was his first-round pick. Sam Darnold was another. Why is he not fired yet? What are they waiting till the end of the year? What could possibly be the explanation as to why he's still employed?
I don't know. I'm going to ask you a question back. How did he get a job the next day after he got canned in Miami? He has
that's a great question.
Yeah, he has a lot of dirt on a lot of important people in the National Football League. The only thing I can come up with. Yeah. he's made it this far. I would be shocked if he lasts a year. I mean, or last, the season, and when we're talking football next year, that he's still the head coach. I mean, I think when the Monday comes, when they start, axing coaches, I would assume that Adam Gase is on that list. But you know what? I think if you're a Jets fan, you'd almost bet the opposite way, because it just seems like anything that could go wrong, anything that could upset that fan base and make them shake their heads and disgust, is saying that, we're going to roll one more year with Adam Gase. But, they didn't keep Robbie Anderson. They let him go to Carolina. They brought in Brashard Perryman, who's really never panned out. He was a first-round pick, but he's never been panned out. He was with the Ravens, and he kind of resurrected his career just to be adequate. But, he's not even a number 2 target. He's a good role guy if you have the big hammers at 1 and 2. He's a good complement to those guys. Herndon, the tight end, kind of never been able to get healthy. I mean, they got rid of Le'Veon Bell. They got the workhorse, journeyman. I shouldn't call him a journeyman, but beats father time, Frank Gore, in the backfield. So I mean, when you look at the Jets' offense as a whole, I mean, from the front office to the coaching staff, they just don't have a lot of work with, and they haven't put a lot into it and got a lot out of it. And that's why they're, 2-13, and, we're having this discussion. But but again, I don't think Sam Darnold is the problem. I think if he had a little bit more talent around him, I think we could see some brighter things out of him.
Bo, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you and your family have a great New Year's. Enjoy the Steelers-Browns game this Sunday. And if you run into any Cleveland people or fans, just remind them that a Ravens fan in Memphis, Tennessee doesn't like them. If you'll do that for me, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, Happy New Year. You guys stay blessed and safe. And again, I can't wait to, hopefully we have 2021 is a lot better for everybody.
Absolutely.
I hope it is.
Bo.
Thanks, Bo.
Yep.
That is Bo Marchand from collegetopro.com. On the other side, we're going to get back into some Grizzlies talk with the former beat writer for the Grizzlies, Ron Tillery. Before we get to break, just want to give one more reminder. You've got about until we come back from break, so you've only got about 3-4 minutes to get your name in on the First Bank text line for we have 4 sets of tickets, 2 4s and 2 6s. We have only 3 parking passes for the AutoZone Liberty Bowl for West Virginia against Army in 2 days. So you got about 5 minutes to send your name, who you'll be taking, and which of the 2 teams you'll be rooting in. 267-129. And for everybody that's already entered, yes, I see your name. You do not get more entries with the more times you text me. So 1 entry per person.
Oh,
so if you haven't entered, go ahead and enter now. I'm trying to make it fair, okay? So go and text us before we get back for Ron. That's going to be the cutoff, and we'll pick the 3 after Ron and before Taco Bell crunch time. So don't go anywhere. Ron Tillery on the other side, right here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
At Jason's Deli, you can stuff yourself full of great deli food that's healthy, fresh, and best of all, it's not expensive. Jason's Deli is all about choice. Whether you're looking for a gluten-free menu, vegetarian sandwiches, healthy kids' meals, or if you'd like to invent your sandwich via the build-your-own selections, Jason's Deli has you covered. And they only use fresh, wholesome ingredients. Choose from the club and specialty sandwiches, paninis, wraps, soups, salads, pastas, and much more. I love the cleanliness in the restaurant, the hospitality, and of course the cost. They have a huge salad bar and great soups, including Southwest chicken chili, fire roasted tortilla, organic vegetable, tomato basil, and many, many more. And if you're planning an event, their catering department is fantastic and can handle any size party. Go check out Jason's Deli's 4 locations. On Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, that's my favorite, on Germantown Parkway in Cordova, at Poplar and Highland, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch.
Experience elevated luxury at Genesis of Wolf Chase. We invite you to test drive the new 2021 Genesis G70, where turbocharged power and track-worthy handling are packaged in a sleek profile with a dramatic stance. The G70 pushes the boundaries of luxury performance, plus every Genesis of Wolf Chase comes with Genesis Concierge Service, free pickup and delivery of your Genesis, and free oil changes and car washes. Shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit wolfchasegenesis.com.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlays, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on their biggest events and bet insurance to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. Right now, FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Just place a bet on any game and FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back if you don't win your first bet. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in site credit. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started and be sure to sign up with promo code GASMAN so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code GASMAN. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
It's on Mid-South employee pricing for all during the Big Finish 2020. So get ready to save big with 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude 4-wheel drive. IIHS top safety pick $22,990 or $296 a month. Or power up with 2020 Dodge Charger $24,890 or $299 a month. And we're talking Ram Tough in a 2020 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 4x2 $31,999 or $399 a month. It's time to get your ride on a Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat. 1901 Covington Pike or online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Almost finance through Chrysler Jeep Ram 3,500 cash down, Charger 4,500 cash down, 4.11 APR, Cherokee MD 150,674, MSRP 28,050, Charger XST LH 248,348, MSRP 32,860, Ram LG 290,329, MSRP 37,855, includes all rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 12/31/20, dealer stock only.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, 96.1. Drew Barrett, Gabe A. Kuhn filling in for Wallo and Stats. Zachary N.J. Boyd on the other side of the glass doing a great job producing as always. Before we get to Ron, texter with the last 4 digits of 7028. I need your name. I appreciate the guest names that you're going to be going off of, but I need to have your name in order to give you your prize. So whoever texted my buddy Scott, John, and my son Sean, and your wife who was born in West Virginia, who will be rooting for the Mountaineers, please text me your name. I need your name. Also, person with the last 4 digits of 3, 2, 9, and 7. Dave, Dan, and Joe. Just need one name. Just need one name. And first and last, y'all two did get in under the wire. We will draw for that after we talk Grizzlies with Ron Tillery. So let's go ahead and get straight to that. Ron, hope you had a great Christmas. Hope you have a great New Year's coming up this week. Grizzlies get their first W of the season, but at a big cost.
Yeah, and happy holidays to you guys as well.
Absolutely,
yeah,
too.
It's always tough for a team to lose their best player. And, we have to speak of it in relative terms. Ja Morant is the reigning Rookie of the Year. He's not MVP. He's not an all-NBA player yet. But relatively speaking, when you lose your best player, it's just a tough blow. He obviously came out of the gate firing and being very efficient offensively and explosive. And so without there being a timetable for Jaren Jackson or Justice Winslow, it's going to be tough sledding for the Grizzlies going forward for the next month or so.
Right, and when you look at that roster, where would you put them? Is this without those guys in that roster? Is this a bottom 5 roster?
Oh, definitely. I understand they beat the Nets the other night. It took overtime, and it took overtime without the Nets' 2 best players on the floor. But yeah, this guy Ja is the motor. And it's going to be very difficult, and it already very difficult Western Conference that they would have struggled in, quite honestly, healthy.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle, especially with Ja out for 3 to 5 weeks with that grade 2 ankle sprain, and just worst possible timing for the Grizzlies. And even before Ja went down, kind of a really bad start. They played the worst Spurs team that I've seen in my lifetime. Hawks, they're off to a hot start, but it's still Atlanta. Even if Ja didn't go down last night, what were we looking at for the first couple weeks?
Well, look at the schedule. They had a really brutal, tough start to the season schedule-wise, and they caught a break by the Nets sitting out Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. So, but when you think about their youth and how they pretty much came back as is from the bubble, and with the injuries, and when you look at how teams like Phoenix and Denver and Portland and so many people around them got better, and Sacramento being on their heels, I think it was just going to be tough for them to compete for the playoffs. But having said that, I don't even think the Grizzlies front office even was pushing for that. I think this was one of those years where they just wanted to see the internal development. Last year they caught lightning in a bottle with Ja being a clear-cut Rookie of the Year and basically wheeling them and putting the team on his shoulder. This year, I just think it was fool's gold to even think a healthy Grizzlies team would make the playoffs.
And off of that, Ron, the expectations are kind of low, but there is room for criticism, correct, from fan bases, from media members like ourselves. Like, we are still allowed to criticize, even though there wasn't that much potential, and we know everything going in. But at the same time, if you're not competitive, you're not competitive.
That's a great point, because I think what that does is, and what you're alluding to, is put all eyes on Taylor Jenkins, the head coach, because, it's one thing to get lucky and then to have Jaren and Ja out there on the floor because they're going to instantly make you competitive. It's another thing to see how you can manipulate the lineups with Jaren out and you got Ja, or manipulate the lineups now with both Jaren and Ja out. And I do think there's room for criticism because it's his job to extract, all of the potential out of a very young team. And, for example, I think I saw this, where there was people criticizing Jenkins for Ja getting a technical the other night. Well, yeah, the leadership has to come from the bench. This team is too young. I know Ja's a fiery kid. I know Jaron's a competitive kid, but they're 21. And to expect two 21-year-olds to lead your team is a tall order. So, yeah, all eyes on Taylor Jenkins, and that's where the criticism is going to go now.
Absolutely, and I think you look at their draft pick this year, Desmond Bain, and there's a tendency to overrate any draft pick of any ilk in any sport. You look at the NFL; they do it all the time, but the NBA certainly, I think a lot of people had high thoughts of what Desmond Bain was going to be coming in, given that he's older, given that he played more basketball at the collegiate level. But what have you thought of his play so far?
Well, I think he's been fine. The thing about this league is consistency. And obviously they lost the first two games, got the one the other night. But, I'm kind of your mindset. I'm in a wait-and-see mode with him.
Right.
You got to see him put together not just a game or two, but weeks. Let me see a couple weeks. See, that's the trap that I think Grizzlies fans and some media fell into with Dylan Brooks. Boy, he had a month. Okay, and then they gave him a contract.
Did he have a month?
Yeah, and then they gave him a contract, right? And then what happened? He had 2 bad months. and so with these young players, it's not what have you done for me lately. It's what have you done for me consistently.
That's the exact point. And with basically your big 3 that you're going to try to build around over the course of the next, hopefully 5 to 10 years here in Memphis, you got to have productivity somewhere, and you can't really rely on Kyle Anderson, slow-mo himself, to put up 28 points a night. So what is Taylor Jenkins like? Who is the go-to guy? If it's not Giannis Valanciunas, which that's not really the role that he's been known to play, who is the guy that you have to go to now?
Well, I hate to say this because I haven't been a big fan of the utilization of Dylan Brooks, but I think that's where Taylor Jenkins is going to turn. I mean, listen, this guy gets more shots up than Ja when Ja's healthy.
Oh, he does.
And so, and then in Dylan's mind now, because he considers himself a part of the big 3, he's going to go out there and just gun it. And so I think you're going to see even more of Dylan that you would probably like. Obviously, Valanciunas is a veteran player and a very productive player, so you might have to slow the game down and just pound it inside because he is very good around the basket, scoring the ball. And then let's see what he does when D'Anthony Melton is on top of his game and the wing players in terms of Taylor Jenkins utilizing smaller lineups. So again, going back to your original point, as far as how do you critique this team? We got to see what kind of rotations he rolls out. Because I agree with your point. I don't think Kyle Anderson is going to be a major impact player.
No.
During this time of struggle.
No question. I think, you look at Dylan Brooks putting up 19 shots last night. What does that go up by?
I mean, that's honestly on the
10
low
or
end for him.
He's got to get up 30 at some point during the stretch without Morant. But I know this is a question that comes up pretty often, and I think he's fantastic, Jonas Valanciunas. But do you think this is a guy that can fit long-term with what the Grizzlies' aim is and what they're trying to build?
Wow, that's a great question. And I just have to preface my answer by saying, I've never met him. I don't know what his long-term goals are, like I knew Marc Gasol, Pau Gasol, Zach. But, he did re-up, and knowing what the situation was. So my take is that, he's a true professional. He's probably going to be one of the main leaders in their locker room. And obviously just go out there and do his job. I don't sense that he's the kind of guy that's going to get frustrated and say, get me out of here, or pout and not show up for practice or lay down in games. I think that's one of the benefits the Grizzlies do have is from where I sit, a true professional in Valanciunas.
Yep.
Yeah, he seems like the guy that's going to be one for all and all for one type of a team guy that's just going to do everything that you ask. Ron, from around the NBA, one thing that really stands out is the Houston Rockets. They're 0-2 on this short season, And it has nothing to do with James Harden's effort or productivity. 34 points in his last game, 44 in the first matchup, but they are 0-2. Do you see Houston go ahead and move Harden in the next few weeks?
I don't. I just think they are right to ask for a nice package for him, because the list of teams as they trickle out, his wish list of where he wants to go, they don't really have anything to offer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so if you're Houston, and this is what I'm hearing, you want something in the sweet spot of, say, what New Orleans got from the Lakers. They got a bunch of talented young players. They got a bunch of picks. And they said, okay, as long as we can load up for Anthony Davis, fine, go. But I don't see that happening with the Nets. I don't see that happening with Miami. I don't see that happening with Boston and with certainly not Portland. And you know, and the only deal that makes sense to me is if the Sixers are willing to come off Ben Simmons, because you just can't give James Harden away for peanuts. And his actions up until he started playing was making it very difficult to trade him. You know, I'll give him credit for only one thing: when he stepped on the court, he did come to play, and that's his job. But all the other shenanigans was just foolishness. And he's fortunate that the Rockets didn't penalize him more than they have.
Yeah, he is very fortunate. Ron, I appreciate you joining us and giving us some time out of your Tuesday. I hope you have a great New Year's, and for you and yours in 2021 is a lot better year than 2020 has been.
Oh, yeah. Same to you guys, and
See you,
thanks
Ron.
for having me, and always good to be on this station. And I want to wish the listeners who've heard me for years a happy 2021 as well.
Thanks, Ron. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay.
All right, that is Ron Tillery, the former beat writer for the Memphis Grizzlies. Still waiting in on those texts. I'm trying to give y'all enough time to get in. I don't want to slight you, but whoever takes it in, I'm taking my buddy Scott, John, and son Sean. Since my wife was born in West Virginia, I'll be rooting for the Mountaineers. Last four digits, 7028. Please text in your name. That is the only way I can fully get you in to get a chance of winning. Also, Dave, Dan, and Joe, 3 people. Last digits of 3297. Please text in. You have till the end of the break. Those are the only 2 more entries we'll be taking due to the 5:30 cutoff that they were able to get in. But we will draw our winners on the other side and, of course, finish the day with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Zane. Weekday mornings from 7 till 10 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Grind City Brewing Company is taking care of beerness in Memphis. Grind City Brewing is the dream of a father and son duo to create a brand that delivers a high-quality, great-tasting, and easy-drinking craft beer. And they've done it. The brewery sits high above the city elevation in uptown Memphis with 15,000 square feet of beerness, including a 5,000 square foot tap room. Grind City Brewing is committed to all things Memphis, including the Tigers. They have created a malt liquor called Tiger Tail that is the official craft beer of the University of Memphis. Tiger Tail comes in 16-ounce six-packs and is not your typical malt liquor. Tiger Tail is crafted with a bold and smooth flavor, has 7.5% alcohol, and its clean finish makes it incredibly easy drinking. Tiger Tail and Grind City Brewing, taking care of beerness in Memphis. Spend the holidays at home this year with a little help from Family Leisure. Family Leisure has so many spas on order. Now's your time to really save big. Huge savings on pool tables, game tables, arcades, massage chairs, and a whole lot more. Buy a pool now and save the 2021 price increase. Plus, you'll get early installation scheduling. The Holidays at Home sale happening now at Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun come together for the holidays.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
You hear the phrase a lot this time of year, happy holidays. But holidays are not always happy, particularly for guys grappling with a divorce that they didn't choose. These men need more than the help of a good lawyer. They need the hope and encouragement of a good friend.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Memphis attorneys. Online at CordellCordell.com. Office in Memphis, 6000 Poplar Avenue, Suite 225, Memphis, Tennessee, 38119.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
It's time, Memphis. Tune in to Fox Sports Southeast and watch your next Gen Grizzlies Wednesday, December 30th at 6:30 p.m. when they take on the Boston Celtics, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Check out Grizzlies.com for more information.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, we hit fame. We busy with the deal, we get insane.
Welcome back to Sports Time for the final segment of this December 29th, 2020 edition of the show. No Brett, no Dave. Dave will be back tomorrow. Brett will be back next week after he gets back from Tampa with Ole Miss and their bowl trip. Me and Dave will take you home tomorrow. Will be our last show of 2020. Thank goodness. Tomorrow as we drive you home from 3 to 6. But we do have some unfortunate news in the Cheez-It Bowl.
Yep.
As number 21 Oklahoma State now leads number 18 Miami 21-10. And just about, 3 minutes ago, we both were out in the hallway watching the game, and D'Eriq King went down with a very hard injury and looked like definitely something's torn in that knee.
Something in lower leg. I don't want to speculate that it's a torn ACL or anything like that. It certainly looks something very questionable, but he did get escorted to the locker room with help. So we hope the best. But it did not look good for D'Eriq King, who said he is going to return next year to Miami.
I blame Dana Ogerson.
It's very easy to. I will too.
I blame him.
Blame all your problems.
It's easy to blame a man with a mullet.
Isn't it? Well, you have to have to have a mullet. You have to have hair.
Well,
okay? Dana's struggling in that.
What would a fake mullet be? A
fullet?
Fullet? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not?
Blame a man with a fullet. All right. Time to draw for our 4 sets. 2 sets of 4, 2 sets of 6, 3 parking passes to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl with West Virginia and Army. Brought to you by the great people at First Bank. People entered on our First Bank text line, and they haven't texted me back. Are they disqualified, or am I nice? Do I put them in there?
Throw it their way.
All right. I guess I'll put the guys in that didn't follow the rules exactly, even though I gave them plenty of time and plenty of shout-outs to tell them to text me their name. But I will put them in the drawing. I have labeled every name and phone number 1 through 9. Gabe, give me a number.
Give me 3.
Number 3, Fred. Fred, congratulations. You have won a 4 or 6-pack of tickets to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. We'll also give you the parking pass. Zach, give me a number. 1 through 9.
5.
Number 5, Sam. Sam, congratulations. You also get a parking pass and 4 through 6. So we'll text y'all. And Gabe, last number.
Give me a 9.
Number 9. That's the guy that didn't follow the rules, right? So we'll text him. We'll text him. He does. He gets a parking pass, so I guess we'll give him a pack of 6. And last number, Zach.
What? 1?
Number 1.
Question.
Brian
What?
Montgomery. Congratulations.
What?
I made sure I knew your last name because you texted in to me about 4 times. So Brian Montgomery, you get a pack, but unfortunately your number was called last. So you do not get a parking pass. And thank everybody once again for entering and listening to the program. And thank you so much to the people at First Bank. It's crunch time.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye!
Get you.
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
On 1, on 2, on 3, hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
I learned today that prior to the loss last night by the Los Angeles Lakers to the Trailblazers, 115-107, the Lakers had won 59 straight games when leading after the third quarter. It is the 5th longest streak in NBA history, including playoffs, and the longest since the 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors. Gabe, what did you learn today?
I learned today that Arizona basketball is self-imposing a 1-year postseason ban. This obviously stems from the 2017 FBI investigation into college basketball recruiting and Sean Miller. And they were hit with 5 Level 1 violations, 9 violations in total, charged with lack of institutional control. And the case had previously been referred to the fabled IARP. I guess this is them trying to take a little bit of the fire off of them, but I have a feeling it won't work.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting move. I mean, at this point, it's you're already so far in the hole. Like, you just let it be what it is, like, right? Like, it just.
You're trying to take some heat off here. I with how many level 1 violations they have, and that's 5. I just find it hard to believe the NCAA will let them self-impose that ban, and that will be the end of it. What could you have done without?
I could have done without today. The news out of the NHL today, only 15 days away from the start of the 2021 season. Chicago Blackhawks captain Jonathan Taves.
My God. It's a W, but it's Taves.
Well, the guy the video I watched pronounced it Tazy for some odd reason, tried to get it right, will be out indefinitely with illness. Taves said today, this offseason I've been experiencing symptoms that have left me feeling drained and lethargic. I'm working with doctors so I can better understand my condition until I get my health back to a place where I feel that I can perform at an elite level and help my team. I will not be joining the Blackhawks for training camp. I do not have a timetable for when I will rejoin the team, and am extremely disappointed, but it wouldn't be fair to myself or my teammates to attempt to play in my current condition. So hopefully Jonathan Taves gets better very soon.
2 pieces of NHL news with what we could have done without. Lindsey Vonn and PK Subban have decided to separate. Did you get this? And it made me laugh. It made me laugh because on ESPN they say the headline reads Vonn Subban opt to end 3-year relationship as if it's some sports thing. But Lindsey Vonn went to Instagram earlier today saying, over the past 3 years, PK and I have had some incredible times together. He is a kind, good man and someone I respect a great deal. However, after much consideration, we have decided to move forward separately. We will always remain friends and love each other immensely.
Oh, that hurts.
It hurts me, man. I could have done without it, I'm telling you. I really
Why you got to break my heart
it.
this close to the end of the show? Well, that is the end of the show. Just keep a close eye tonight on the Tigers at FedEx Forum against the Bulls of USF. College basketball, number 19 Northwestern at Iowa. Number 5 Houston on the road to Tulsa. We got Celtics. It's undefeated Pacers. Heat hosting. Where's my other piece of paper? Hosting the Bucks in New Orleans and Phoenix. Very scrambling there to find my other piece of paper. But thank y'all so much for listening. If you did win, please go ahead and text the station or go ahead and call us real quick at 360-8255, and we'll let you know how to get your Liberty Bowl tickets. For Gabe Kuhn, for Zach Boyd, also want to thank all of our great guests, Greg Gaston, Brent Beard, Jeff Moore, Bo Marchand, Ron Tillery. For all of them and for all of you, thank you so much for listening. I'm Drew Barrett. Have a wonderful and blessed night.